Hey guys. This is What If Naruto Can See Spirits. Naruto meets a strange snake-like man. Later that night he encounters a deranged drunk man who stabs Naruto in his eyes. The snake man rescues him before the deranged drunk can finish the job. He even offers to try and help give Naruto his eyes back. He does, but Naruto can no longer see colors. A month or so afterwards he starts seeing shimmers that soon develop into people. Dead. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are pain, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 1 Eyes. Get back here, you damn brat! A guy shouted from behind a laughing golden-haired boy. Catch me if you can! The boy shouted as he continued running from the angry Chunin, who was a fluorescent pink with rainbow glitter covering him. The young boy, who had bright blue eyes and 3 whisker marks on his face, looked around before he grinned as he slid underneath a woman's legs, causing her to shriek. Then the young whiskered boy, whose name was Naruto, turned a corner, and using the few precious seconds he had, fell to the ground and rolled underneath the dumpster. The Chunin turned into the ally and ran straight past Naruto's hiding spot. As the blonde-haired boy escaped his hiding spot snickering, he heard someone growling behind him. Without turning to see who it was, he booked it. The boy continued running and dodging, though every time he thought he had lost his pursuer they had found him again. The blonde-haired boy started making his way to a place he had just recently discovered this past week or so. It had lots of rooms and stuff, so he should be able to find somewhere to hide until the pursuers gave up. Naruto pushed himself to go faster as he heard the multiple shouts behind him. He may have used a few pre-made traps as distractions, and made even more people chase him. Whoops. He ran up the stairs as quickly as he could and burst into the Hokage monument, which was primarily an evacuation point for civilians in case of an attack on the village, but it also had a ton of rooms in which there was a lot of cool stuff. Making his way through the mess of corridors, he picked a room at random, and opened the door, and closed it as quietly as he could. Raising a hand up, he wiped off the sweat on his brow. His breaths were labored as he finally looked up to see what room he found himself in. Distantly his ears picked up the sound of shouting, which unfortunately was getting louder. His eyes widened as he saw someone in the same room as him. The man had long black hair, and skin as white as the snow. Then there were his eyes, yellow and cat-like, or snake-like. The man was putting something in his pocket. Glancing quickly to the object next to the man, he saw that they were coffins. This way! I can sense the brat's chakra! A voice shouted, sounding distressingly close to where Naruto was hiding. Deciding that since the pale man wasn't doing anything at the moment to ignore him, he looked for a spot to hide. The pale man's eyes narrowed at him before one of the corners of the man's lip twitched up. Before Naruto knew what was happening, his mouth was covered and he found himself being melted into the wall right as the door slammed open. The young boy could feel himself being moved through the ground, though the man didn't release him. Finally they went above ground and the pale man removed his hand. Coughing, he blinked as he realized that the strange pale man had saved him from the mob. Next time Naruto would have to figure out how to avoid a censor ninja. Maybe Gigi would tell him if he asked nicely. Naruto beamed at the strange man though. Thanks, he said happily. The strange man just eyed him for a moment before he spoke. Don't mention me to anyone, and we'll call it even. His voice had a bit of a hissing quality to it, making Naruto think of snakes, and with the strange man's snake-like eyes he definitely seemed like a snake. Naruto nodded and looked around, trying to find something he recognized so he could make his way back home. After all, the sun was starting to go down, and Gigi told him that he shouldn't be out late at night. Not recognizing where he was at or where to go to get back home, the young blonde shrugged and trotted off after the strange snake man. What's your name, mister? I'm Naruto. The yellow eyes flickered over to him and twitched up into a small amused smirk. You will just have to find out, won't you? Naruto pouted. After another couple of steps he asked. What was that awesome jutsu you did? It is a jutsu I have modified from the original. It lets me travel through any material, so long as I have the material for it, that is. Cool! Naruto said, his eyes wide, then he blinked as something clicked in his mind. Wait? Doesn't that mean you're a ninja if you can do jutsus? The man just seemed amused, though he didn't reply. Naruto pouted for a moment again before asking another question. Where you going? The snake-like man raised an eyebrow at him, an amused expression on his face. Naruto almost thought the man wasn't going to answer before he said, To my lab. A lab? Does that mean you're a scientist? What kind of science do you do? I heard from Gigi that there were many kinds of scientists. Or are you a doctor? Doctors have labs as well, don't they? The snake man gave a creepy chuckle. You sure are inquisitive, aren't you, Naruto-kun? I like to classify myself as both a scientist and a doctor. Inquisitive? Naruto repeated slowly, trying to repeat the word. It means you are very curious and ask a lot of questions. Naruto said in realization, nodding his agreement. Looking around once more, he asked yet another question. Say, mister, where we at? The man glanced at him again. We are at the clan grounds. Most of the more minor clans live in this area, though the Uchiha clan also live near here. The Hyuga are on the opposite end of this section of Konoha, while the Aburame live in between the two. Naruto blinked, processing all of that information and trying to memorize it. He never knew this was where they lived. He had wondered so he could prank them. The odd duo continued to walk. The young boy continued looking around, though he didn't see anyone else out on the streets here. Where is everybody? Naruto asked out loud. I assume something has distracted them, the snake man said in an amused tone. A few minutes later, the pale man paused. Follow that path, it will lead you to the market district. Take care to not be spotted on the clan grounds, they tend to not like strangers. Naruto beamed at the man. Thanks, Snake-san, he said as he took off down the path as silently as he could while still running. A few minutes of running later, he found himself entering into the market district, but it wasn't any area he recognized. Slowing down to a walk, he cautiously looked around. The sky was dark now, night having fallen fully about 10 minutes ago. The young boy shivered in the cool breeze brought in by the night. Despite this place being filled with noise, people chattering, music blaring and all that, this place seemed to be way more creepy than the empty clan grounds. A bottle smashed nearby, causing the boy to startle. The smell of alcohol made him wrinkle his nose. He saw a couple of men enter into a building with a red light on it and the sounds of laughter. Shuddering, he increased his pace, trying to find out of this weird market distract. Suddenly he felt as if he was being stared at. Increasing his pace even more, he was almost about ready to run, when he was shoved him into a nearby alley, causing the boy to stumble and fall, landing painfully on his butt. Who are you? The man said, blinking his slightly foggy eyes slowly as he stumbled a bit. Been drinking too much, I guess. Thought you were a couple feet more to the left, sword dash. The man cut off as he blinked a couple more times, before his friendly, if awkward, smile vanished. You. Looks like tonight's my lucky night. I found a demon brat by itself, the man said, his eyes getting a glint in them. The man stumbled closer to him as Naruto got up. The man shoved the boy into the alley wall, leaning in close. The blue-eyed boy scrunched his nose as the man's breath reeked of alcohol. Can you please let me go, stranger-san? Naruto asked politely, though his voice wavered in fear. The man either didn't hear him or ignored him, and since the man was right up in his face, staring him straight into his eyes, the golden-haired boy doubted it was the latter. Naruto was forced to stare into the man's dull green eyes. You know what I hate most about you? The man whispered with a growl. What? Naruto whimpered out. Your fucking eyes. Always filled with that stupid innocent look. As if you haven't done anything wrong. You're such a monster. The man's words slurred together before he shook his head and continued on. You don't even feel guilty for what you've done, have you? For everyone you killed, including my son. He never got to have that innocent look, never got to see the sun, never got to enjoy life. And my wife! My beautiful wife, my radiant sunshine. She's gone as well cause of you. Her radiant sparkling eyes. I'll never see them again. The man trailed off, his eyes tearing up. I think you got the wrong person, mister. I haven't killed anyone. Naruto protested, struggling a bit, but he was unable to escape. The man pulled him away from the wall a bit before slamming him back against it, dazing the young boy. Don't lie to me, he hissed. The man grinned crazily as he pulled out a pocket knife, keeping Naruto pinned to the wall with his remaining hand. Those eyes. I hate them, he shouted, bringing the knife dangerously close to Naruto's face. Stop! Please stop! Naruto screamed fearfully. He started thrashing, trying to break free as the man brought the blade closer to his left eye. His violent thrashing caused his head to jerk forward and the knife pierced his eye. The blonde screamed in agony. The pain was worse than anything he had ever felt. The man laughed in a crazed manner. Looks like you took care of one of your eyes for me. The man brought the small knife up to his other eye and Naruto focused on it, frozen in fear. Let me go! Please, someone help me! Anyone, please! He cried out in pain and fear before the man drove the knife deep into his eye. Pain coursed through him, worse than anything he had ever felt. Why was no one helping? Who would want to help a monster like you? The man whispered as he traced the knife down his face all the way to his heart. You killed my family, you demon! Now I'm gonna kill you! The young boy froze, unable to move. Naruto whimpered in agony as the pain coursed through him. He waited, unable to do anything but cry in pain for the man to finish him off. Slowly the deranged man's grip on him loosened and fell off to him. The blonde heard a thud as something hit the floor. The young boy was frozen in fear. Who's there? Naruto whimpered out, scared and in pain as silence permeated the air. As no answer came, he slowly tried to move his head, trying to see anything, but he saw nothing. Pain crashed through him and he started to cry. Calm down, Naruto-kun. A voice spoke after another pause. It was the voice of the snake man. Naruto tried to look in the direction he thought the voice was coming from. His body protested at the movement. How can I calm down? He sobbed. I can't see anything. How can I be a ninja if I'm blind? There was a moment of silence before the snake man spoke up again. I might be able to help. The snake man's voice had his normal silky qualities to it, and the normal vague amusement to it the man seemed to have whenever he spoke. Naruto figured that was the man's normal voice, but right now it annoyed him that the snake man still seemed amused even after Naruto had his eyes stabbed. Setting that annoyance to the side for now, he cautiously asked, You can help? He choked the question out as he tried to refrain from whimpering in pain. Perhaps, the man stated slowly as if thoughtful, if he could. I might be able to replace your eyes. Naruto whimpered, nodding his head, which only brought about another wave of pain. Please, it's dark, I don't like it. It hurts. I will help you, Naruto-kun, but you will owe me a favor. The young boy nodded. Okay, he whispered quietly, sniffling. It was after he agreed that he got the feeling he just made a deal with the devil. I'm going to pick you up now, the man warned before he grabbed Naruto. The young boy sobbed quietly, scared that he would never be able to see again, though the pain seemed to be going away. Faintly he felt the wind rapidly brushing past them, as if they were moving very fast. He was gently placed down on top of a cold metal table. The pain had vanished, but it was still so dark. Naruto heard various things being shifted and paper being rustled, and then he heard the snake man muttering. Yes, this is good. It seems I have everything I need. There was a pause and some more rustling. All right, Naruto-kun, I'm going to give you a shot to make you sleepy. Do not resist. Naruto gave a nod. A small prick on his arm caused him to wince. The boy lay down and waited for sleep to claim him. Minutes later he was asleep. Feeling a pull, he frowned as he blinked and suddenly found himself standing before a black-haired man with yellow slitted eyes and pale skin. The man chuckled in what he appraised to be a decent evil chuckle. He sighed inwardly as he found he couldn't move. Edo-tensei, it seemed. HMPF, why did this man summon him? Looking around he found that he was in some kind of laboratory and on the table was a kid, no older than 5. He scowled. Why have you summoned me? He asked after he found he could move his head at least. The man glanced at him and didn't answer. But the man did restrict his movements even more, so now he couldn't even talk. I am doing an experiment, the man answered a minute later as he came up to him. The black-haired man smirked as he came over and tried to take one of his eyes. He watched as the eye the slitted eye man had taken fell to dust, and his eye reformed in his body. What did this man think he was trying to do? Was the man trying to find some way to take his eyes? He growled deep in his throat, and the man smirked at him. The man walked over to the boy and took out one of his eyes and returned to the Edo-tensei. He saw that the bright blue eye of the boy was damaged as if had been pierced. The man once more took out his eye, but before his eye could reform the man shoved the boy's eye. He felt his own eye reform using the material of the eye. The man grinned as it finished, and then once more took the eye out from his eye socket. He waited for the eye to turn to dust, but it didn't. Could the summoner have really managed to copy his eye this way? It seemed impossible, but as the pale man looked at the eye he was able to notice that the eye was completely healed, though the eye was a slightly darker shade of blue now. His own eye took a bit longer to reform. The slitted eye man returned to the boy and placed the eye back in the boy and used a medical ninjutsu. The process repeated for the other boy's eye. The man smirked. Thank you very much for your assistance, he said in a clearly sarcastic manner as he released the jutsu. He growled before his Edo Tensei body fell apart, and now he was back to being a spirit. If you ever summon me again, and slip up and give me enough control, I will kill you for what you have done. He threatened even though he knew the man could no longer hear him. Deciding he had enough, he figured he should return back to where he was before the foolish man summoned him only to use him for some experiment. Pausing, he glanced at the boy. The eyes remained even after the Edo Tensei was released. Could it have actually had some effect on the boy? The man picked up the boy and used Shunshin. He reluctantly decided to follow, curious despite himself if what the man did had any effect on the boy. He made a henge as he found that he was in Konoha, no need to get the other spirit's panties in a twist. Eventually the man stopped at an apartment, after having henged himself, and dumped the boy onto a bed. The apartment was a mess. Empty cups of ramen, clothes, and other junk. The experimenter stared at the boy for a moment before he left. He sighed as he leaned against the wall, waiting for the boy to wake up, wondering just what the summoner had expected from what he did. Naruto groaned as he woke up, his eyes felt sore, pulsing with pain. Over the next few minutes the pain slowly faded away. He cracked his eyes open and stared at his apartment roof. Where are all the colors? Was his first thought as he sat up and looked around. He blinked and yawned before he startled as he realized that he was seeing stuff. I can see again. He may have only been blind for a few minutes, but it had felt like forever. Not being able to see, he hated it. Though not being able to see colors was weird, but at least he could see something. Ah, it seems you are awake, Naruto-kun, a familiar voice said. Naruto turned to see the snake man. His eyes, which used to be yellow, were now just a gray. Everything appeared in shades of gray up to the darkest of blacks, and the lightest of whites. Naruto leapt up and tackled the snake man in a hug. Thank you so much for returning my sight to me, Mr. The man who returned his sight to him awkwardly patted him on his back. After Naruto finally released him, the snake man asked, How is your vision, Naruto-kun? Everything is in shades of gray, but I can see things more clear than before, like the time used to be blurry, but now I can see the numbers, he said excitedly, pointing to his clock as an example. The man gave his creepy chuckle. Though Naruto didn't think the man was purposely trying to be creepy, it seemed the man was just naturally creepy. Kukuku, interesting. It seems that your vision has become monochromatic, and your eyesight most likely was degraded before I fixed them. Monochromatic? Naruto repeated slowly. It means that you only see one wavelength of the visible spectrum, the snake man explained. Naruto just frowned again, not understanding. The man sighed. It means you only see one color. Oh! Naruto exclaimed before blinking. Wait, so how did you heal my eyes, snake and eye? The snake-like man didn't answer. Will I ever be able to see colors again? Naruto asked after a moment. I do not have any answers for you. Perhaps they will, but they might not. The man's head tilted to the side and his eyes flickered to the window. I must be going now. I have been delayed for too long. Remember, Naruto-kun, to not mention me to anyone, and that you owe me a favor, the snake man said as he slowly started sinking into the ground. Goodbye, Naruto-kun. Goodbye, snake and eye, Naruto said, waving as the man's head fully disappeared in the ground. The young boy collapsed back onto his bed afterwards, wondering what he should do. Eventually he got up and changed his clothes. Deciding to get some well-deserved ramen, he went to his favorite place of all time, Ichiraku's Ramen. Happily eating the food, he chatted happily with the ramen stand owner and his daughter. Chapter 2, Shimmer. It took him a month to start getting used to the lack of colors. What he had once took for granted, the blue skies, the green grass, were now a bleak, lifeless-looking gray. It made the world a lot more different. With everything being gray, Naruto found that it was easier now to ignore people. After all, if he wasn't paying attention to them, they just blended in with the background. Then one morning after waking up, he noticed something strange. In the corner of his room, the air seemed to shimmer and waver as if something was there, kind of like a heat wave. With a frown, he went over to the shimmer and hesitantly poked it. The shimmer moved to the side. His stomach rumbling, he decided to get some food before trying to figure out what that shimmer was. A couple hours later, he still had no idea what it was, only that it would move if he tried to poke it, and that it followed him if he left his apartment. When he left, he noticed that there were other shimmers around, but no one else seemed to notice them. Gathering up his courage, he asked a random civilian if they could see the shimmers. No. Now leave me alone, was the bit-out answer before the civilian hurried away. Naruto gave a small smile, that had been one of the nicest civilians he had met. Deciding that if no one else could see them, it would be better if he couldn't see them, he set out to try and ignore them. He didn't need to give the civilians any more of a reason to think he was a monster. As another month passed, the shimmers seemed larger, more oval-like. Then, as the third month passed since he had lost sight of his colors, he saw that the oval shimmers seemed to become more defined, looking more and more like a person. The shimmer that followed him was the most detailed, but the others were starting to become more defined as well. Naruto also noticed that at times the shimmer that followed him seemed to disappear, but it always seemed to come back. By the end of third month, each shimmer looked the same as a normal person, yet no one else could see them. It was at this time that he decided he needed to figure out what had happened and what that mysterious snake man had done to his eyes. So he went to the library. The librarian, an old woman, gave a nod to him. She had once been a ninja, and thus was kind to him. He went up to her and asked if she knew who the person was. He described what he could remember: pale skin, yellow slitted eyes, black hair. She seemed to pale and asked where she had seen him. Remembering his promise to the man, Naruto shrugged and said that he had overheard a couple people describing him. The librarian relaxed a bit and said, "His name is Orochimaru. He is one of the 3 Sannin. He is a missing nin for experimenting on children. If you do see him, make sure you tell the Hokage or the ANBU." She went to a shelf and after a moment pulled a book. "Here, if you're interested in learning more about the 3 Sannin, this is the book." "Thank you," he said gratefully as he took the book and started reading. When he was done, he was horrified. Yet Naruto didn't want to break his word. He wouldn't tell anyone Orochimaru had been in Konoha. Besides, that was 3 months ago. Surely it wasn't that big of a deal. Naruto could only hope that the snake Sannin forgot that he owed him a favor. Naruto returned to his apartment, the stalker shimmer following him again. Getting into his apartment, he studied the shimmer. He had long spiky hair, which seemed black. One of the man's eyes was covered by his hair, but the other seemed to be black. He looked as if he was judging Naruto as he stared back with his arms crossed in front of his top that had a high neck guard. The young boy couldn't tell what color it was, but it seemed to be a dark gray. Underneath the shimmer had lighter gray pants. "What are you?" Naruto asked hesitantly, afraid of what the answer would be. Was this a ghost? He hasn't really done anything harmful, but no one else could see him. Naruto saw the shimmer's mouth moving, but no sound came out. "I can't hear you," Naruto told the shimmer. It looked like a person, so the young boy was going to assume it was a person. The shimmer frowned a bit. "I wonder if I should tell Gigi. He would believe me." Naruto wondered out loud. He saw the shimmer shake his head. "I shouldn't tell him? But why?" The shimmer once more tried to speak, but Naruto couldn't hear him. Maybe he should learn how to read lips. That would be useful if he wanted to know what the shimmers were saying. The shimmer frowned. Suddenly in his hand was a leaf headband. The shimmer pointed to it, then to himself. "You're a ninja?" The shimmer gave a nod. Then the headband disappeared and the shimmer held its hands out, a look at me sort of gesture. "You're a secret ninja?" The shimmer smirked and held up his hand displaying 3. Naruto frowned confused. The shimmer sighed and pointed to his mouth, then to Naruto and held 3 fingers again. It took a moment, but Naruto figured out that the shimmer meant the third word he had spoken. "Secret?" Once more the shimmer gave a nod, a small smirk accompanying it. Thinking back to the conversation, Naruto asked, "You want me to keep you shimmers a secret?" The shimmer raised an eyebrow, but he did give a nod. "But why should I keep you a secret?" Naruto's personal stalker shimmer brought out the headband again, then he did a zipping motion over his mouth. The headband probably meant a generic ninja, rather than specifically the shimmer, and the zipping motion was a universal sign for someone keeping quiet. So hesitantly he asked, "Ninjas keep secrets?" He answered with a confirming nod. "So you want me to keep the fact I can see you a secret, because ninjas keep secrets?" The stalker gave a nod. Naruto shrugged, and decided that for now he would keep it a secret. After all, it wasn't like keeping the secret would harm anybody. The rest of the day he and the shimmer continued to talk, or rather Naruto asked questions and tried to figure out what the shimmer was trying to answer. The next day it was the 1st of June, and so Naruto made his way to the Hokage's tower, though he couldn't help but feel as if someone was watching him. As soon as he entered the building he noticed that once again the stalker shimmer stopped following him. This was the only time the shimmer stopped following him. Last month he had suspected it had been because of the shimmer he had seen in Gigi's office, This month maybe he would be able to figure out who it was. Entering the office, he smiled at the Hokage. "Hello, Naruto-kun, how are you?" "I'm doing fine, Gigi," Naruto answered and handed over a couple pieces of paper. As the Hokage asked him the standard questions, Naruto glanced at the shimmer. He had what looked like very light gray hair and wore a hapuri. The shimmer had 3 weird marks on his face that were a darker shade of gray than the rest of his face. He wore a dark gray armor over a black-looking bodysuit, and the top of the armor was framed by white fur. He looked familiar. Naruto stared out the window as Gigi asked him about his thoughts on the upcoming school year, where he would be starting the merged academy. "I'm excited, but what if the kids don't want to be friends with me?" he asked, turning to look at the person he considered his grandfather. The Hokage just smiled and said he was bound to make friends. Naruto listened to the comforting words and relaxed a bit. Glancing out the window again, he looked at the Hokage monument and blinked in surprise. The second head on the wall kinda looked like the shimmer. He knew they were the previous Hokages, the Shodai, Naidame, Gigi, and the Yondaime. But he didn't know their names. "Say, Gigi, what are the Hokages' names?" he asked. The third gave him a smile as he answered. "The Shodai Hokage was Hashirama Senju, who founded the village. The Naidame Hokage was his brother, Tobirama Senju, who was also my sensei." Naruto glanced towards the shimmer to see him with a small smirk, a proud look on his face. "I am of course the Sandaime Hokage," the third amusedly spoke. "And the Yondaime Hokage was Minato Namikaze." With that, the meeting returned to normal, and Gigi gave him a little bit of money for him to buy food and other supplies. Then his Gigi gave him another couple sheets of homework to do, mostly writing and reading sheets with a bit of vocab memorization. As soon as he exited the tower, his stalker Shimmer continued to follow him. As he walked back to his apartment, he saw a couple of the Uchiha police people helping another Uchiha police person to walk towards the hospital. He was too far away to see why they were helping him, but he could hear what the people were saying. They spoke of how his eyes had been stabbed, and that he was going to the hospital to have them fixed. Apparently enemy ninjas tended to go for Uchiha eyes. It may take them out of that battle. If they survived, then the hospital was able to heal their eyes. If the medics had been able to heal his eyes, then what had Orochimaru done? It must have been some kind of experiment, as that is what Naruto read that the snake Sannin did, but what exactly he had done was a mystery. He may not know the specifics, but Naruto suspected that whatever it was had given him the ability to see the shimmer people he now saw. After all, no one else could see them, and he had only started to see them after Orochimaru had fixed his eyes. The next few months passed with him working on trying to learn how to read lips so he could communicate with his stalker, who from what Naruto had figured out was following him mostly out of boredom. Stalker Shimmer had disappeared a few times, but he always reappeared eventually. It was through studying Stalker Shimmer that he learned that the shimmers were see-through, though it was hard to tell as the gray blended in. Learning this though made it slightly easier to ignore random shimmers in the street. Then again, he tended to ignore most people, as everyone, shimmer and living, both seemed to give him looks of disdain and scorn, with the only exceptions generally being ninjas. Naruto had asked his stalker if he was a ghost or a spirit, and the man had just gave one of his usual smirks. Naruto took that as confirmation. If this had been a few months ago, he may have freaked out a bit, but the shimmers didn't seem harmful. In fact, his stalker was pretty helpful and always tried to answer his question, though usually if it required more than yes or no, it was a bit of a guessing game to figure out what was trying to be said. Now, though it was October 10th, and Naruto was dreading it, people seemed to be extra spiteful today. The boy glanced down at his vocab sheet to make sure he had used those words correctly. He grinned as he saw he had used them in the right manner. Gigi would come visit him later today, but for now he was happily doodling. Currently he was trying to draw what the Hokage looked like, trying to match the grays with what he remembered and hoping that they were the correct color. His stalker seemed amused when he showed him the drawing. Naruto sometimes felt it was odd to call the shimmer a stalker, yet the shimmer decided to not give his name. That was okay though, Naruto kinda liked the mystery. Chapter 3: Stalker. He had been following the child for a few days when the summoner used the Edo Tensei on him again. Once more the man tried to replace someone's eyes, yet even though he used the same trick as last time, it did not work. This seemed to frustrate the snake-like man, which of course made him amused and relieved. Seeing as the summoner's experiment had failed, the yellow-eyed summoner released the Edo Tensei. About a week after that he was summoned again, though once more the experiment failed. He wasn't sure why it failed, but he was glad that it did. Neither did he like being summoned as such. Whenever he did, he always forgot what he had learned after he had died. A month after he first started following the boy, Naruto, he was starting to get bored. Nothing seemed to have happened. He did not know what he suspected, but even if his eyes did give the kid his dojutsu, then it would probably be activated in a normal manner. It all changed though when the boy seemed to stare right at him, a puzzled look coming over his face. Then the boy poked him in his stomach area. He had of course moved and the boy's eyes tracked him. Curious, he questioned, "Can you see me?" The boy did not respond and continued on with his day. The next month there was another summoning, and the summoner seemed to be getting frustrated at the lack of a repeated success. As for Naruto, the boy seemed to be staring at him, and the other spirits a confused expression on his face. Then the third month when the boy finally could see them clearly, or that's what the boy said after they started talking. Talking, of course, being relative phrase, it mostly revolved around the boy asking questions and him trying to figure out a way to answer as the boy could not hear him. He did learn that the summoner's name was Orochimaru, and was apparently a missing ninja. Naruto was even starting to learn how to read lips, though it was slow progress. At the start of the fourth month, Naruto was preparing to go meet that Hokage of his once more. As he always did, he hinged himself into someone who looked like they could be related to Naruto. No need for Tobirama to be alerted to the fact he was here. Once again, Naruto failed to react to him hinging. It seemed as if the boy did not notice, though when he made the henge sign and changed in front of the boy only showed his confusion about the hand sign. As the boy entered the Hokage tower, he stayed outside. There was no need for Tobirama to learn he was here. He raised an eyebrow as a random spirit approached him. "Is it true? Can that boy see us?" He gave a sneer. "Do you believe everything you hear?" The spirit gave an affronted look. "Geez, I was just asking a question." He crossed his arms and narrowed his eyes as he started to release a bit of killer intent. Nothing too much, or Tobirama would notice, but enough to get this idiot to leave him alone. The spirit left. He gave a sigh as he waited. It was a shame that he had not seen nor heard anything about Hashirama. He wanted to apologize for his actions. It would seem that his friend had chosen to pass on, so he wished his friend a happy afterlife, even if it meant he was unable to apologize. Naruto soon exited carrying a small stack of paper, which from his previous months of watching the boy he knew contained basic things to help the boy write and expand his vocabulary. He sedately followed after the boy, a small smile on his face. "Stalker Shimmer, do you like ramen?" Naruto asked, peering at him through his bangs as he looked up. He shrugged in answer, and the boy started rambling about ramen. It was strange, but he was quickly becoming accustomed to the nickname Naruto had given him. The boy seemed more amused than annoyed or upset at not knowing his name. He thought that the boy would make more effort to learn who he was, but the boy seemed content not knowing. Naruto stopped at the ramen stand and started chatting with the two keepers of the stall. They then returned and Naruto placed his assignments on the table and began to work on them. A few more months had passed since then and Naruto started to learn how to read lips. He was even starting to train the boy. Nothing too strenuous, just a few light exercises and a few of his basic taijutsu stances and moves. Currently it was October 9th, and the two were at the apartment sitting at the table as Naruto ate his dinner. "I am both dreading and looking forward to tomorrow," the boy stated after a few minutes of silence. He tilted his head questioningly. "The villagers are always extra mean on my birthday, but Hokage will come by and give me a present." He frowned, wondering just why the village hated the boy. Surely they did not hate him for hosting the Kyuubi. He was aware that the civilians seemed to know of the boy's status. Though why they knew, he did not know. He could not fathom a reason of why the civilians had to be informed of who the Jinchuriki was. Naruto went into the shower with his clothes to prepare for his bed. He chuckled as he remembered an incident after Naruto realized that the shimmers were in fact people. The boy had taken a shower, and had left his clothes in the bedroom. Naruto started to exit only to turn a brilliant shade of red as the boy saw him standing in the corner as per usual. "Out!" The boy had screeched, his face scarlet. The boy was as red as a tomato. It had been amusing to see the boy so riled at him standing there. Naruto hadn't appreciated the amused grin on his face as he started reaching into the bathroom and throwing things at him. Chuckling to himself, he left the room. After that incident, Naruto always made sure to bring an extra pair of clothes in with him. He sighed as the boy went to sleep after saying goodnight to him. It was always boring during the night. As a spirit there was no need for him to sleep, though it helped to pass time. Heading to the living room, he laid on the couch. He may not need to lay down to sleep, but even after all these years it felt weird to be able to sleep standing up. He was not a Nara after all. Sleep was also not the correct term, since sleeping was something a living person needed. Mostly it was just him closing his eyes and turning his thoughts conscious off. It was weird to try and figure out how to describe, which is why he just stuck with sleeping. During this, his body would fade away. Perhaps this was a pseudo form of moving on to the pure realm. He did not know. As the sun rose up signaling the dawn of a new day, he allowed himself to wake up. Only a couple hours later Naruto woke up and went to the kitchen to start cooking. He followed after the boy and helped him. The two had managed a system where Naruto would look at him before doing something to make sure what he was doing was correct. Naruto was unable to cook simple things by himself. About the only thing he could do was a cup of ramen. That was to be expected though, since the boy was a young child, he would learn in time how to cook. As the boy sat down and ate, he caught Naruto's eyes. "Happy birthday, Naruto!" He mouthed slowly so the boy could read his lips. The beaming grin the blonde gave him was blinding as the boy thanked him profusely. He just smiled fondly at the boy and listened as the boy rambled and ate. After the boy ate his breakfast, he pulled out some paper and a handful of crayons and started to doodle. Eventually the doodles were faintly recognizable as himself and Naruto. Of course none of the colors were right. Naruto had drawn himself as having bright green hair and pink eyes, with clothes that were a neon blue. The doodle that bore his likeness at least had black hair and eyes, but his clothes were a truly ghastly shade of orange and yellow. Still, despite how badly the colors clashed, it was amusing to see the boy scrunch his eyebrows together as he concentrated on the crayons. His tongue would poke out a bit as he carefully observed a crayon before nodding and using the crayon. It was entertaining that Naruto would concentrate so hard, despite seeing the colors in various shades of gray. After another 10 or so minutes the boy was finished with his drawing with a large beaming smile. "What do you think?" Naruto asked him. He chuckled and gestured towards the wall. Honestly, the drawings were great. Naruto beamed at him and pinned the drawing onto the wall, next to his other doodles. The boy then skipped out of the room and into the main room of the small apartment. He glanced towards the center drawing, which was him depicted with proper colors. Naruto had asked him which colors to use for which bits, and so he had pointed out the crayons whenever the boy started working on something that needed a different color. The boy was so happy with what little he managed to scrounge from the ground, broken discarded crayons that were often missing their wrappers. Naruto's best crayon were often nicked from the alleyways near restaurants. Pausing in his thoughts, he tilted his head as he heard a commotion coming from the main room of the apartment. "You damn demon, you killed us, you monster! I can't wait until you die! I hope someone kills you!" His eyes narrowed in anger, and he quickly hinged himself into a random appearance before he entered the main room by going through the wall. He quickly observed the situation as he stalked forward to stand in front of Naruto. There were about 5 or so ninjas in front of Naruto. "What, pray tell, do you lot think you are doing here?" he questioned them, crossing his arms. The lead spirit looked affronted at being interrupted. "Move out of the way," he snarled. "We have heard that the demon brat can see us, and we wanted to know just how much pain and suffering it has caused and what awaits it on the other side." The spirit gave a truly pathetic sneer. "You're just one lone spirit, stand aside or we will dissipate you, we are jounin after all." The other cohorts of the lead ninja brandished their weapons threateningly. He raised an eyebrow and shook his head, forming a tiger hand sign. A small smirk curled at his lip as he thought the jutsu name, Katan, majestic flame demolisher. Perhaps using his largest fire jutsu was a bit overzealous, but he hated idiots. By the time the flames vanished, the nitwits were gone, either due to being dissipated, or by fleeing. So long as they did not come back, he did not care. Shaking his head, he turned around to check on Naruto, and make sure the boy was safe. The boy was beaming at him. "Thank you, Guardian Shimmer," the boy said, nodding his head as if he had just decided something of great importance. He raised an eyebrow and slowly asked, "I thought I was Stalker Shimmer?" "You were. But now you're Guardian Shimmer, at least until you tell me your name," Naruto responded cheerfully. He chuckled at the boy. A small smile lifted the corner on his lips. Yes, sticking around was definitely more amusing than following that apprentice of his. He shook his head, banishing those thoughts. He now had a chance to do something about it, especially since this boy could see and learn from him. That was for later thought. Today was Naruto's 6th birthday, and he wanted to make sure the kid was happy. The fools of the village did not deserve such a special child who wanted to protect them even after all they had done. He watched over the boy even after the Hokage of his had come to visit, and they celebrated, just the two of them. He watched, a silent protector, as the Sandaime told Naruto he would be enrolled into the academy when the new term started in January. Chapter 4. The next couple months passed peacefully, but his ability was developing even further. He was starting to be able to hear the shimmers. At first he had thought he had imagined hearing Guardian Shimmer scoff in response to something Naruto had said, but a little while later when he was rambling on about how excited he was for the academy he had heard the man when he asked why. At first it was only sparsely that he heard the shimmer, but slowly the ability developed, and by the time Christmas came he was able to hear Guardian Shimmer about 50% of the time, while the others were only about half that. Naruto figured that it was because he spent more time around Guardian Shimmer. The shimmer just smirked at him and did a hair-ruffling motion. Naruto pretended he felt it and just smiled. Anyways, it was Christmas, and that meant Gigi was coming to visit. Guardian Shimmer sighed at his excitement as Naruto bounced on his feet waiting for the knock. When it came he opened the door and let Gigi in, though at the same time another shimmer came through the wall. And suddenly the air became tense as Guardian Shimmer stared down the Naruto Shimmer. "Hello Naruto-kun, how are you today?" Gigi asked, holding something in his hand, oblivious to the tense air as the two shimmers continued their stare down. "I'm doing fine," he said excitedly, though he kept glancing at the two shimmers. The Hokage frowned at him. "Is everything alright?" Naruto debated whether to tell him or not. "So you are the child who can see us," the Naruto Shimmer said. Naruto glanced over to him to see him saying something else, but he couldn't hear whatever it was. Guardian scoffed in reply though and said, "It is smart to keep his abilities a secret. It is a common practice among shinobi after all. It is his choice whether he tells the third or not." "Naruto-kun?" the Hokage said, and Naruto blinked. "Sorry," he apologized. "Why don't you tell me what's wrong?" Gigi asked kindly with a smile. Naruto bit his lip before he nodded. "Alright." That got the two shimmers to stop glaring at each other and look at him. "This is gonna make me seem crazy." Naruto started hesitantly. Guardian put his hand over Naruto's shoulder, a gesture of comfort Naruto appreciated even if he couldn't feel it. The third just smiled kindly. "It's okay Naruto-kun, I'll believe you." Naruto slowly nodded then said, "I can see dead people, spirits I guess, though I tend to call them shimmers." Sarutobi blinked, clearly not expecting that. "Oh? Yeah, I can now see them pretty clearly. I can't really hear them perfectly yet. I can hear Guardian Shimmer about 50% of the time now, and others about half that." "Guardian Shimmer?" the third parroted. "Uh-huh. He's the shimmer that I used to call Stalker Shimmer, until he protected me from some mean shimmers, though at that time I couldn't hear shimmers at all, but they had the same mean look as the villagers do." "Why have you not mentioned this before?" "Well, it never really was an issue, and I try to ignore the shimmers cause I don't want them knowing I can see them, and since Naruto Shimmer is always in your office when you're there," Naruto said, shrugging. "Naruto Shimmer?" Two voices echoed. One of them said Shimmer, who was giving him a flat, unimpressed look, and the other was the third. Naruto, the mature boy, he was stuck his tongue out at the Naruto, who narrowed his eyes at him for the disrespect. "Yeah, from what I have gathered from Guardian Shimmer, after you die, if you had chakra, you become a spirit to help protect the living from the undead and demons and such. Of course, you can always pass on completely if you wish, or if you're seriously wounded in a fight with another shimmer or one of the creatures of the in-between, then you can be forced to pass on completely." The third stared at Naruto. "Who is this Guardian Shimmer of yours? I don't know his name. I haven't bothered to really try and find out, though I could if I wanted to. What does this guardian of yours look like?" Naruto grinned and went to his wall of drawings in the other room. He looked at them and grabbed the one he was pretty sure was the correct color drawing. He had two of these, one that was the correct color, and one that was the wrong colors. He couldn't tell them apart, but it was 50-50th chance. He went to go show the Hokage and then heard his guardian sigh. "You grabbed the wrong one." Which meant he grabbed the one that his Guardian Shimmer said gave him dark purple hair, pink shirt, and a lime green pants. The Naruto saw it, and Naruto heard him snickering. Naruto blinked and rubbed the back of his head. "Whoops." He went to grab the other one. "Sorry, Gigi. This is the correct one." The Hokage raised an eyebrow at the fluke. Naruto sighed and said, "I'm colorblind." The third's eyes widened in surprise. You're colorblind, I guess that does explain those drawings. The third mused. You mentioned you could see Tobirama-sensei? Gigi asked after a moment of looking at the drawing. Naruto nodded. Yeah, he typically is always in your office, though he followed you here today. Naruto turned to said person. Why did you come out of the office, Night Shimmer? The man stared blankly at him and stated in a flat voice. A couple other spirits told me that you could see them. I came to investigate that claim. Naruto nodded. Ah. Sensei's here? The third repeated seemingly in shock. Yes, he is. He was always standing behind you in your office. Where is he standing now? The third asked. Naruto pointed to Tobirama. The third looked in that direction. Would you mind if I converse with him, and have you tell me what he says? I don't mind, but I might not hear the response always. As if proving his point, Tobirama said something Naruto couldn't hear. How are you doing, sensei? Sarutobi asked. The Night-Aim rolled his eyes. That is the first question you ask after all these years, Sarukuin? Naruto repeated it word for word and tried to copy the man's tone of voice. Gigi chuckled. Yes, this is quite unexpected after all. You've become quite old, Sarutobi. The third Hokage just chuckled. Indeed I have. What do you think of Konoha-sensei? Naruto watched as the Night-Aim tilted his head slightly to the side for a moment before responding, though Naruto couldn't hear what it was the Night-Aim said. Sorry, Gigi, I couldn't hear what he said. His guardian stood behind him, mostly just watching the events and standing defensively. Naruto got the feeling he and the Night-Aim didn't get along very well. I said that Konoha, while having come along further in some ways, has gone backwards in others. The Night-Aim said. Naruto relayed the message to the third. The village has gone backwards? The third repeated with a frown. Tobirama glanced at him. Most of it is because your teammate keeps going behind your back and the council undermines you. You are old, Sarutobi. Perhaps you have forgotten that you are the Hokage of Konohagakure. Your word is the law. It is because you either do not see what they are doing or overlook what they are doing in order to keep the peace. But the council of yours have dropped the academy standard to nothing. The village is weakening in its strength. Do you remember when you were an academy student what was needed to pass? Now it is just written tests and 3 near useless jutsus. With the standards set as they are, you are setting children up to die. Then there is the fact there is a civilian council at all. They have no business in shinobi matters. And your teammate, he still runs his little group despite you having disbanded it. Naruto's eyes widened at the long message. It had cut out in multiple parts, and so after grabbing a pen and some paper wrote it down, taking 3 or 4 repeats before he read it to the third using the tone of voice that Tobirama had used. The third's eyes went wide as his sensei scolded him using Naruto as a median. Tobirama looked towards him. It is unfortunate that you have to be here, but I thank you for the chance to set my students straight. I have been watching Konoha slowly decay and hopefully Sarutobi can fix it. Naruto just smiled. It's fine. Besides, I want to be Hokage in the future. Tobirama nodded. That is a good goal, Naruto-kun. Perhaps I will help you. It took Tobirama a few times repeating before Naruto heard what he said. The young boy had stars in his eyes. Really? So cool. The Night-Aim shimmer lip twitched up in a semi-smile. Indeed, it is interesting that someone can see us spurts. I'm sure many others would want to teach you a few things as well. Naruto nodded rapidly. His guardian cleared his throat and Naruto looked at him. I hope you did not think that I would not be training you. Now that you can hear me most of the time, we can begin your training. Thank you. Naruto shouted and tried to tackle his guardian's shimmer in a hug only to pass right through him and face plant. Ow, Naruto whined, rubbing his nose as he sat up. His guardian's shimmer chuckled and did the hair ruffle. Tobirama looked decidedly unimpressed. Naruto shared a glance with his guardian, who had become good at telling what the boy was thinking. He rolled his eyes, but stuck his tongue out at Tobirama with Naruto. The Night-Aim's eyes widened and he said something Naruto didn't hear. His guardian just responded with something Naruto once more didn't hear. Tobirama looked affronted and said something back and the two shimmers started bickering. Sarutobi shook his head, finally coming out of his shock. Unaware of the two bickering shimmers, he asked, Have I really been that negligent? Negligent? Naruto repeated the words slowly. It means to be neglectful. Seeing that Naruto didn't know what neglectful meant, the third elaborated. Neglectful means that I have been failing in doing what my duties require. Naruto nodded in his understanding as he ignored the pieces of the bickering he could make out. Night-Aim Shimmer and Guardian Shimmer are bickering like an old married couple. Naruto whispered to the third. The man spluttered and then chuckled in amusement. Oh, I almost forgot. I brought you a gift, Naruto-kun. Oh? Naruto asked, excited, ignoring that the two shimmers looked like they were about ready to fight. Sarutobi handed him the small package he had been holding earlier. These books are gifts. One is to help you with the academy, though I will be taking a careful look into the academy standards now that Tobirama-sensei mentions that they are so low. Naruto opened the package and inside was a couple books. One was a book on the history of Konoha, another was a book on traps, the third was a book about sealing, and the fourth looked to be like a diary, only it looked old and worn out. One last one was a small book on chakra. Holding the diary, he asked, "What is this?" Sarutobi gave a gentle smile. "It is a journal from a seal master as they learn to create seals. He would have wanted you to have it." The boy smiled. "Thanks, Gigi. I'll be sure to learn from these." Naruto ducked as a kunai went flying through where his head had been. "No fighting in my apartment, please!" he shouted at the two shimmers who had started throwing weapons at each other. "My apologies, this ignoramus does not seem to know how to be a respectful guest in another's house," his guardian shimmer said smoothly. Tobirama glared at him and said something, and the two quickly left, most likely to go fight. "Ignoramus?" Naruto repeated, but the shimmers were already gone. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow as he explained. "It means ignorant or stupid." "Ah. The shimmers left to go fight, I think." The third slowly nodded. "This has been a lot more eventful than I thought it would be." "No kidding, Guardian Shimmer always avoids going into the tower. I guess I now know why. I figured he was avoiding the night aim." "Interesting, I wonder just who your guardian is." The third mused, glancing once more at the picture. "I don't know." Naruto sighed, keeping Orochimaru a secret. A deal was a deal. He just hoped the snake Sannin forgot about him and the favor he owed. "Why don't we go get some ramen?" the third offered. Naruto beamed and nodded. The two went off and ate ramen together at Ichiraku's. Chapter 5. After the meeting with the third, the academy had been delayed for a month while the Hokage rebutted the whole system. Naruto didn't know everything that went down, but things started changing around the village. The first warning sign was when civilians started to riot and complain. Anbu had jumped down and had said something. Naruto was too far away to hear what, but the civilians had looked shocked. The Shimmer seemed to be happy about it, and when he talked to his guardian Shimmer, the man had said that because of the talk between Tobirama and Sarutobi that the village was returning to how it should be. Naruto had been making slow progress on the book about chakra as his guardian helped him learn to read. He didn't understand most of it so far, just that chakra was made of two parts, a physical part and a spiritual part. Finally, the academy was reopened and Naruto joined his fellow kids in the classroom. A pair of civilians stood at the front of the classroom. "Hello, children. How are you doing?" one of them asked as every seated themselves. A few goods responded. "I'm glad to hear that. My name is Hanti and this is Shinsetsu," Hanti said with a smile as he gestured to the female next to him. He wore a basic tunic and had short cropped hair. Shinsetsu gave a polite bow as she said, "I'm pleased to be the assistant for what looks like a wonderful group of students. I hope we can all get along." The woman had on a kimono that looked pretty basic, though it had a few flowers on the bottom. Her hair was placed in a bun with two decorative chopsticks stuck through them. The class started out with the teachers asking everyone to introduce themselves, their names, favorite colors, and what their dream was. They also wanted to know if you planned to be a shinobi or a civilian. Eventually it came to be his turn. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My favorite color is gray," mostly because it was the only color he could see. "And my dream is to become the Hokage," he said with a smile. "I want to be a shinobi." Obviously, his guardian commented dryly. The class procedures on, the teachers explaining that this year the class mostly focused on being able to write and read, and they went over some of the more important works as well as the history of Konoha. They mentioned they would have a P day once a month, but they had recess every day for an hour. They also said that for an hour every week they would have art time where the kids could draw. Later it was recess time and Naruto was sitting against a tree trying to read more of the chakra book he was given with the help of his guardian Shimmer when the air suddenly became tense. Naruto looked up and saw that a group of older kids had surrounded him. The kids were from one of the split academies. He couldn't tell if they were from the ninja or civilian academy though. Putting his book in his bag, he gave a large smile. "Hello?" he greeted cheerfully. He knew this wasn't going to end well. Your name is Naruto Uzumaki, yeah? One of the kids asked. He gave a nod in response. So you're the monster then that our parents told us about, one of the other boys said. I'm not a monster, Naruto protested. A girl with long hair said. I've seen the way the villagers treat you. Everyone thinks you're a demon possessing the body of a human. I'm not, he protested. Shut up, monster! One of the boys, who had spiky short hair, shouted. No one wants to hear your lies, you stupid orphan. His guardian Shimmer was scowling at them, but there was nothing he could do to protect Naruto from the living. Why do you even lie, demon? You should just go kill yourself, one of the older girls said snidely. Naruto flinched back. The kids were about to say something else, but luckily a teacher called for the recess to be over. The young blonde trudged his way back to the classroom. He sat next to the same boy from earlier, a boy who wore a high-collared jacket and wore glasses, even inside the building. He was pretty sure the boy's name was Shino. Naruto reseated himself next to the boy who had been silent the entire time. But that was fine, Naruto didn't want to chat with anyone now anyways. His guardian put his hand over Naruto's shoulder, offering a silent comfort as the teachers continued with the first day of the class. The day ended and Naruto made his way out. Looking around, he saw parents picking the kids up. His eyes caught onto the girl who had been cruel earlier, and she was talking with another woman. Then he saw the girl point to him and say something else. He watched the woman laugh and pat the girl on her head. Naruto sighed as he turned away and started walking back to his apartment. Mostly the civilians just ignored him, but today they seemed to be glaring at him more, and he heard whispers. They wondered why a demon like him was allowed in the academy. Why such a monster was allowed near their children, and the one that hurt the most, why was he still alive? The villagers didn't like him and wanted him dead. Naruto couldn't take it anymore, and he ran trying to get away from everyone. Guardian Shimmer, he watched over the boy and helped him to read. He could not help Naruto with his writing, but reading he could definitely help with. The academy start was delayed by a month as the third Hokage cracked down and started to tend to the fire that the village was supposed to be instead of the dimming ember it had become. The will of fire indeed. He wondered sometimes what Hashirama would have done had he decided to remain in the in-between. He had not heard anything about Hashirama and figured that perhaps he had decided to move on. He had seen the civilians try to riot and protest against the changes the Hokage was making, but the Umbu had quickly shut them up. After all, if the civilians did not want the protection living in Konoha provided them, they could always leave. Konoha was a ninja village and civilians had no right to interfere in their rulings, something that Sarutobi had forgotten about, but was now reminded about. He had seen most of the other spurts seem more pleased with the going-ons of the living world. He smiled and gave the boy another hair ruffle as Naruto sat next to him for more help with reading the chakra book. The boy smiled at him. He may not actually be able to feel the hair ruffle, but he still appreciated the gesture. A month after the academy was supposed to open, the Hokage had finally finished reviewing the materials, and the academy reopened. Naruto excitedly got dressed in some of his newer clothes. The boy wore a simple gray shirt and black pants. The boy said that since all he could see was gray, he might as well appreciate the one color he could see. The boy entered into the academy and sat next to a boy who wore a light gray high-collared coat and sunglasses. He recognized that style of dressing. The boy was from the Aburame clan. Users of bug, even back in the founding of the village they tended to be avoided because of the bugs the clan used. The class proceeded mostly with introductions and other basic things. He watched as most of the kids introduced themselves, though it was interesting to note that quite a few of the major clans had kids that were clan heirs, or were from the main branch of their families. Naruto made his introduction and the class continued on discussing what the class would be talking about throughout the year. And then it was recess time and he continued with helping Naruto to read. It was surprisingly nice being like this. Deep inside him he felt an ounce of regret. Ignoring that, he continued helping the boy until he noticed that some older brats were surrounding him. His eyes narrowed at them as he doubted they had kind intentions towards Naruto. Naruto gave a large grin, painfully fake, as he greeted the other kids. He watched, unable to do anything as the kids bullied Naruto. Naruto flinched at one of the things the kids said. He snarled at the brats, wishing he could hurt them. If they were to meet their demise any time soon, he was going to make their time in the in-between painful before forcefully destroying their spurts, so they could not find their eternal peace. He hated people like these brats. Another brat was starting to say something, but the teacher called for the end of recess. He watched as Naruto trudged his way to the classroom and sat once more next to the Aburame boy. He placed his hand over Naruto's shoulder, trying to comfort the boy a bit. These idiots did not deserve someone like Naruto. The class finally ended, and he saw Naruto watch with pain-filled eyes as children were picked up by their parents. Naruto did not deserve to be treated as he was. The boy reminded him of Hashirama. The third was a naive fool for releasing Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki. Naruto turned away and started slowly making his way back to his apartment. He sighed as the comments and whispers of the villager reached his ears. How could people be so cruel to a child? The village was created to be a safe haven for children. He was about to try and comfort Naruto when the boy took off running, tears streaming from his eyes. He watched and sighed as he heard the civilians snicker and laugh at Naruto's misery. He thought about following the boy, but he was no good at comforting children. Frowning, he wondered how he could best help Naruto. Looking at the building, he scowled, but figured that Tobirama would know better than he would. He never had to deal with children since his wife had left him and took their son with her. He had only been able to hold Kasai once. Shaking his head, he started walking to the tower. The spirit guards at the tower jumped out of his way when he glared at them. Since Tobirama had learned he was here, he stopped bothering with the henge. He went to the Hokage's office, and the spirit Umbu fled the room. He scoffed at that. He had not even come to fight Tobirama. The man narrowed his eyes at him. The air became tense. He noticed in slight amusement that even the third seemed to notice something was up as his pencil stopped, and he looked around for a moment. "Why are you here?" Tobirama asked, getting straight to the point. He sighed. "I do not know how I can help Naruto. The civilians are, as you know, not accepting of him. Though you are not good at dealing with children either, you are better than I am," he said, crossing his arms. "Where is Naruto now?" Tobirama asked. "I do not know. He ran off after overhearing some villagers say that they wished he was dead. The first thing is to find him, then the next thing to do is to comfort him." He gave Tobirama a blank stare. The man shrugged in response. Great, neither of them knew how to comfort someone. This would be so much easier if Hashirama was here. "The best thing we could probably do is offer something to take his mind off of what the villagers suggested." He narrowed his eyes a bit at that. "We?" he questioned. "I will not having you corrupt the boy any further. The only reason I haven't had my ninja attack you is because you have yet to do anything to harm either of the worlds. I have not corrupted the boy at all. Unless you say that helping the boy learn how to read is corrupting him," he muttered. Even after they were dead, Tobirama did not trust him. Go figure. "We are wasting time. Let's go find the boy." "Fine," he agreed, and the two left to search for the blonde-haired boy who could see them. Hours later, of not being able to find the boy, Tobirama enlisted the help of the other shimmers, and waited in the Hokage's office, while he went to search the outskirts of the village. Chapter 6. The young boy ran. He ran away from everything. He made his way along an out-of-the-way path, not particularly caring where he was going so long as he was away from everything. Eventually he tripped and fell. Sniffling, he looked around. Seeing no one around, he relaxed a little bit. He hated the fact that he was unwanted by the village, that he was nothing but a monster and a demon to them. Sitting up, the boy looked around again. He didn't know where he was at. Blinking, he saw something that seemed to be flickering in and out of his vision, curious and looking for something to distract himself with. The young boy slowly walked over to the flickering area. Soon he saw that it was a barrier-like thing surrounding a field. Frowning, he entered it. Walking deeper into the area, he found a small clearing which had a bench and a small array of flowers that were different shades of gray, which meant they varied in different colors. Blinking, he saw that someone was sitting on the bench staring at the flowers. Naruto focused on the man and noticed that he had that slight see-through quality that meant he was a shimmer. The man glanced up at him briefly, and Naruto recognized the man. He was Hashirama. The man returned to staring at his flowers. Naruto went to sit next to the man. From the stories he had heard about Hashirama, the man was a cheerful person who believed the best in everyone. His guardian shimmer commented that Naruto reminded him of Hashirama. But the shimmer didn't seem cheerful. He kinda looked sad, like Naruto was feeling. He sat next to the first Hokage for a while, mentally giving the nickname Sad Shimmer to the man. Perhaps the man had a mask around people and acted cheerful. Naruto did that a lot of the time. After a couple hours, he left thoughtful of the first Hokage. Walking along the path, he memorized his way back to someplace he recognized so he could find the field again. Coming into Konoha proper, he blinked in shock as one of the shimmers pointed at him and shouted something. What it was he couldn't hear, but soon another shimmer, this one wearing a Umbu mask, came over to him. "Naruto-sama, Hokage-sama has been looking for you, the Umbu Shimmer said. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that but followed the Umbu Shimmer to the Hokage tower. The secretary automatically allowed him into the Hokage's office since Gigi wasn't in a meeting. Hello Naruto-kun, Sarutobi greeted. Naruto waved at him before focusing on Tobirama. You wish to see me? He asked the Shimmer. Sarutobi blinked, and then he raised an eyebrow. Tobirama nodded. Yes, your guardian asked for me to help with comforting you since he is unskilled at comforting people. And then when neither he nor I could find you. Naruto frowned at that. I'm fine, it's nothing I'm not used to, he replied. A child should not have to be used to something like that, Tobirama said with a frown. Naruto shrugged in response. What's going on, Naruto-kun? The third asked, confused. I was upset earlier and ran off. Guardian Shimmer apparently decided to ask Nidang Shimmer here for help, but after they couldn't find me I guess he ordered the other Shimmers to keep an eye out for me. Umbu Shimmer informed me that Tobirama wished to see me and here I am. Naruto explained with a shrug. There was another reason I wanted to see you actually, Tobirama said. Oh? Naruto asked, curious. The second Hokage nodded. I know that, your guardian. Tobirama frowned a bit at that before he continued. Is helping you with your schoolwork, but I was wondering how you would like an early start to your training as a shinobi? Naruto's eyes were wide. Really? Tobirama nodded. I mentioned last month that I would be willing to help, and for the last month I was considering what I could help you with. The young boy bounced on his feet. When do we begin, Tobirama-sensei? The third's eyes widened slightly. The second crossed his arms. We begin this weekend. All right. Naruto cheered. Tobirama frowned a bit, but didn't say anything. So Tobirama-sensei is going to be training you? His Gigi asked, an amused look in his eyes. Naruto nodded. Yep. Does sensei have anything else to tell me while you're here, Naruto-kun? The boy looked over towards the man who seemed thoughtful. After a moment he spoke up. Some of the Uchiha spurts mentioned seeing a strange person enter the clan grounds. They say that he is egging on the coup when they follow him. Naruto repeated what Tobirama mentioned. The third's eyes went wide. Can you tell me more about this person? Give me a moment to summon the one who followed the man, Tobirama told Sarutobi through Naruto. A few minutes later a Shimmer came into the office. The Shimmer was a Uchiha if the clan symbol on his back was of any indication. The man said something Naruto didn't hear. By this point he was able to hear almost everything of what his guardian said, and about 75% of what every other Shimmer said. Yes, can you tell us about the strange man who entered the Uchiha grounds? The Shimmer looked at Naruto. Oh! Naruto-sama is here! It is an honor to meet you. Naruto gave the man a weird look and noted to ask about being called Sama later. Actually, he had noticed that this past month he had been getting looks of respect from some of the population, but he had dismissed it thinking they were looking at someone else. The man generally appears out of nowhere with just a swirl, completely different from the Shunshin. He has long black hair a bit lower than his shoulders, and then he henges himself into a generic Uchiha appearance. I followed him and he talks with the other clan members, exacerbating the problem of the clan believing that they're being ostracized. But there's one other thing some of us found out. The Shimmer paused briefly, glancing at him. One of the others remembered seeing him before, the night the Kyuubi attacked. The masked man was the one who controlled the Kyuubi. He also fought the fourth Hokage, and the fourth had thought the man was Madara. As we know, this is impossible since the man is dead. The man disappears as strangely as he appears, with a swirl vortex that seems to pull him in. Naruto repeated the information to the Hokage. The Hokage leaned back, looking thoughtful. This ability of yours is very powerful. These spirits are the ultimate spies, he murmured. The Uchiha Shimmer paused before saying, Fugaku is starting to become suspicious of Itachi. Naruto related that bit to the third, who nodded. Perhaps. How do you think your clan would react if one of the Uchiha were assigned to be Naruto's tutor? The third mused. The Uchiha Shimmer frowned thoughtfully. So long as you discuss it with Fugaku, he might actually see it as a sign of trust. But with the masked man spreading those rumors, there will be no way to stop the coup without a more drastic measure. Naruto relayed what the Shimmer said. I will have to give more though to this. If you see the masked man around, please find out what you can of him. I will alert my shinobi to be on the lookout as well as the Fugaku Dano, the third said thoughtfully. Thank you, Naruto. I will summon you if I have need of you, and I'm sure Sensei can also summon you if he has something that he needs to say to me. And I'm sure you know not to repeat anything sensitive to anybody else. Do not repeat any sensitive information outside this room, the Hokage said, dismissing Naruto and warning him. Tobirama nodded his agreement to what the third said. Naruto gave a respectful bow and left. Sarutobi, he looked up from his paperwork as his door opened without someone first knocking. He smiled as he saw Naruto come in, though the boy seemed distracted as he closed the door behind him. He activated the privacy seals so no one outside the office could hear the conversation. The Umbu would still hear the conversation, but he trusted them. "Hello, Naruto-kun," he greeted the boy. The boy waved at him before focusing on a patch of empty air. "You wish to see me?" the boy seemingly asked the thin air. He blinked, realizing his suspicion was right. He raised an eyebrow as Naruto listened to presumably Tobirama say something. The boy frowned before responding. "I'm fine, it's nothing I'm not used to." A pause before Naruto shrugged. "What's going on, Naruto-kun?" he asked, wishing he knew what his sensei was saying. "I was upset earlier and ran off. Guardian Shimmer apparently decided to ask Nidame Shimmer here for help, but after they couldn't find me, I guess he ordered the other Shimmers to keep an eye out for me. Umbu Shimmer informed me that Tobirama wished to see me, and here I am," Naruto explained with a shrug. Sarutobi nodded and was about to ask why Naruto was upset when Naruto said, "Oh," in a curious voice, once more focusing on a patch of air. Naruto's eyes went wide from whatever he heard as he questioned in a hopeful voice. "Really?" Sarutobi watched amused as Naruto began bouncing in place, obviously excited about something. "When do we begin, Tobirama-sensei?" the boy asked, and his eyes widened a bit. Did that mean Tobirama would be helping Naruto to train? It was just then that Sarutobi started to realize just how powerful this ability truly was. "All right," Naruto cheered, apparently pleased with what he heard. "So Tobirama-sensei is going to be training you?" he asked Naruto, amused at the boy's antics. And knowing his sensei, he knew that they would test each other's patience quite a bit, as his sensei had no sense of fun, as Koharu once said. Naruto nodded. "Yep. Does sensei have anything else to tell me while you're here, Naruto-kun?" he asked, curious. He watched as the boy turned to the blank space of air. Then he changed his posture a bit to, from what the third assumed, copy Tobirama's stance, as he tried his best to copy the man's tone of voice and said, "Some of the Uchiha spurts mentioned seeing a strange person enter the clan grounds. They say that he is egging on the coup when they follow him." His eyes once more widened. If someone was encouraging the coup, that wasn't good. "Can you tell me more about this person?" he requested, looking over to the same patch of air Naruto had been looking at. "Give me a moment to summon the one who followed the man," Tobirama told him through Naruto. A few minutes passed, and then he saw Naruto turn high attention to the door. Another moment passed before Naruto's face scrunched up as he looked at the air, as if it had said something weird. He idly wondered what that was about. After a few minutes of Naruto staring intensely at the air, the boy turned to face him and said, "The man generally appears out of nowhere with just a swirl, completely different from the Shunshin. He has long black hair a bit lower than his shoulders, and then he henges himself into a generic Uchiha appearance. I followed him, and he talks with the other clan members, exacerbating the problem of the clan believing that they're being ostracized. But there's one other thing some of us found out. One of the others remembered seeing him before, the night the Kyuubi attacked. The masked man was the one who controlled the Kyuubi. He also fought the fourth Hokage, and the fourth had thought the man was Madara. As we know, this is impossible since the man is dead. The man disappears as strangely as he appears, with a swirl vortex that seems to pull him in." He leaned back after hearing that information. It was quite a bit of information, none of which he knew before. That the masked man who set the Kyuubi on them had actually fought against Minato, and that he appears and disappears in such a strange fashion. He was pretty sure that in fact it wasn't someone in the village, and it was most likely a rogue Uchiha, though who specifically he didn't know, as there were no Rouge Uchiha at the moment. "This ability of yours is very powerful. These spirits are the ultimate spies," he murmured out loud. "Fugaku is starting to become suspicious of Itachi," Naruto said, obviously repeating one of the spurts. Perhaps. How do you think your clan would react if one of the Uchiha were assigned to be Naruto's tutor?" he questioned, having figured that the spirit the Nidame had summoned would be a Uchiha, since that was the most obvious way the spirit would be able to provide more information. "So long as you discuss it with Fugaku, he might actually see it as a sign of trust. But with the masked man spreading those rumors, there will be no way to stop the coup without a more drastic measure," Naruto relayed. "I will have to give more thought to this," he admitted before requesting, "If you see the masked man around, please find out what you can of him. I will alert my shinobi to be on the lookout, as well as the Fugaku Dano." "Thank you, Naruto. I will summon you if I have need of you, and I'm sure Sensei can also summon you if he has something that he needs to say to me. And I'm sure you know not to repeat anything sensitive to anybody else. Do not repeat any sensitive information outside this room," he said, warning Naruto to keep the stuff secret. The boy actually bowed respectfully as he left, having apparently realized that he was in fact giving a command as Hokage and not as the boy's pseudo-grandfather. When Naruto left, a shadow from the corner of the room stepped forward, his form shimmering to reveal the Anbu commander in his white cloak. "Hokage-sama, what was that?" he asked. "That was Naruto Uzumaki's special bloodline, an SS rank secret not to leave this room," he said sharply, leaving no room for dispute. "As it is, his bloodline allows him to see spirits, which he seems to have taken to calling them shimmers." The Hokage watched amused as he saw the Anbu commander become shocked despite trying to hide it. After a minute, the Hokage added, "Apparently the Nidaime Hokage, my sensei, still remains the Hokage of what is called the in-between. As you can see, with Naruto acting as the median, I have been able to gather important information." "Yes," the Anbu commander said. "Are you sure that Naruto can keep the information to himself?" Sarutobi thought about the blonde-haired boy. "Yes, he himself only told me of his ability a little over a month ago, despite claiming that it had developed a bit over half a year before that point in time. I think he only told me because from what I gathered, my sensei had been hearing rumors about Naruto and followed me. When he entered, he encountered Naruto's guardian, and the two apparently don't get along." The commander took in the information before after a moment of contemplation. "This kid's Kekkei Genkai. Have you thought about what to do with Naruto? It is odd, but for now I will let him continue to be a normal academy student. May I suggest that perhaps he be allowed to occasionally train with the Anbu?" Seeing the Hokage frown, he clarified. "Mostly on the information parts. If he can learn how to securely transmit messages to you, or me if need be, then it could help with the security of the village, such as if the information is time-sensitive, or important but you are in a meeting. Being trained in how to deliver the information will be good for him." The Hokage thought over the suggestion the commander made and agreed it would help. "Very well, I will tell Naruto about this tomorrow and his training can begin. His training is off the record. No one is to know about this. Only you, Sloth, Hummingbird, and Fox are to know that Naruto is receiving training." The three other Anbus stepped out of their spots. It might seem like overkill, but as Hokage, the Anbu took his protection very seriously, despite the fact he could protect himself. Grabbing a few papers from a drawer on his desk, he signed a few papers. "Naruto Uzumaki has S-rank clearance to security information. If you even think that the spirits can provide information to help the village that asked Naruto. If this ability of his can secure Konoha, then we will use it. After all, the spirits often see things we don't. The secret of his parents and his Jinchuriki status, though, is to be made a SS rank secret," he declared. "By your command, Hokage-sama," the Anbu said as one. Sloth, Hummingbird, and Fox went back to their spots, while the commander took the papers and left. Chapter 7. He left the office and returned to his apartment to see that his guardian Shimmer was there waiting for him. The man nodded at him, his posture relaxing slightly. "Say, do you know why the other Shimmers are calling me Sama?" Naruto asked. "It is because of your status of being a living person who can communicate with us, the benefits of which this ability of yours is startling with just what you can do," his guardian answered. "It's weird," Naruto said, wrinkling his nose. Pausing, he thought back to the Shimmer he had found. He wondered if it was really Hashirama. The Shimmer looked a lot like the man, but what if he wasn't, and just some Shimmer that looked similar since he couldn't see colors? "I found something earlier. Follow me," Naruto said, grinning at his guardian. The man shot him a questioning look, but Naruto ignored it as he made his way to where the path was. Walking about halfway up, he found the flickering field again. "See!" He pointed to the flickering area. His guardian frowned at him. "See what?" "The flickering area. It kinda looks like it's not there and then it is there," Naruto said, watching it. "Interesting. I do not see anything. Perhaps another spirit put up a barrier to be alone," his guardian said. "Well, there was the sad Shimmer I found. I will be unable to enter the area," the guardian said. "I'm gonna go talk to the sad Shimmer," Naruto told him. The Shimmer looked at him carefully before nodding. "I will wait for you here." Naruto entered into the flickering area again, and towards the clearing, still sitting there, was the sad Shimmer. He looked as if he hadn't moved at all. "Hello?" Naruto greeted. The Shimmer didn't even look up. Naruto pouted. Sad Shimmer! He called. That got the possible Hashirama attention. The man looked at him and gave a slow blink. Slowly he pointed to himself. Yeah, you can see me? The man slowly asked, furrowing his eyebrows. I can see all kinds of shimmers, well, spirits, but I call y'all shimmers. You look sad, hence your name. My guardian Shimmer protected me, hence his name became guardian instead of stalker like it used to be, and I sometimes call Tobarama Nidane Shimmer. Maybe I could also call him Sensei Shimmer, Naruto said, rambling a bit. The sad Shimmer just looked at him before commenting. You were sad earlier. Naruto nodded. Yeah. Stupid civilians. What happened? The boy looked at the Shimmer. The civilians don't like me for some reason. I'm sure Guardian Shimmer and Nidane Shimmer know why, but they haven't told me. Then again, I haven't asked. I will have to remember to ask them. Anyways, the civilians were being extra mean today for whatever reason, and some older kids were being meanies. The man seemed to get even sadder for some reason as he crouched down and drew on the ground a cloud hanging around his head. Naruto frowned. Say, what's your name? He asked. The sad Shimmer looked up, a bit of surprise on his face, asking a silent question. You look like Hashirama, but I could be mistaken cause I'm colorblind. Naruto answered the unspoken question. The man gave him a small smile. I am Hashirama. Naruto nodded. So why are you sad? Hashirama shook his head. It's getting late, little one, you should return home. I'm sure your parents will be getting worried, he said with an obviously fake smile. I'm an orphan. My only guardian is my guardian Shimmer. Naruto turned to leave before pausing. I'll come visit you again soon. Naruto exited the clearing and saw his guardian waiting for him. The two silently walked back to Naruto's apartment. Naruto went to his drawing and started drawing the clearing and Hashirama, though he didn't bother trying to find the correct colors. He hung his drawing up on the wall. His guardian looked at the newest picture. Is that supposed to be Hashirama? He gave a nod. Yeah, sad Shimmer. His guardian frowned at that. Sad? He seems really sad for some reason. Naruto replied as he got ready for bed. He ate his dinner, changed his clothes and laid down. Good night, guardian. Tobarama, he watched the conversation between his student and the Umbu commander with interest. To train Naruto in information delivery would be useful to Konoha. Turning, he smirked. Konoha now had a heavy advantage against the other nations. Summoning the squad leaders, he assigned them a new assignment, to create a functional spy network, for now all information would come to him, and he could relay it to Naruto as needed, and this way he could have less off-duty spirits. Since there was so many who decided to stay behind, they always had an overabundance of spirits. Now, though some of the other spirits could help the village, while they may not be getting paid like their living counterparts, their job was no less important. They cleaned up the filth that formed. The filth were basically evil spirits. A bit of time passed and he paused when another spirit entered. What do you want now? He asked, crossing his arms. He had been surprised when he found that this man was still around, and was in fact guardian to Naruto. He did not trust the Uchiha at all, but it had been partially his fault for what happened. What happened to Hashirama? The Uchiha asked. Tobarama barely hid a wince. I assume Naruto found that area where he hid himself away. The Uchiha nodded. Technically, here in the in-between, I am the Sandaime, and Hashirama the Nidame. The Shodai for the in-between world was your brother. The Uchiha's eyes widened. Izuna? He breathed out hopefully. Your brother has already moved on to the other side. But he only moved on after he had a chat with both me and Hashirama. Your brother has a very sharp tongue. The Uchiha snorted and muttered. That is an understatement. Yes, well, after Izuna spoke with him, he became upset, and as soon as I joined he said I was once more Hokage, and he left, barricading himself away in that clearing. It was soon after when Izuna came and had a chat with me, if the chat he had with me was close to what he had with Hashirama. Tobarama shook his head. After he chatted with me, he said his job was done, and he allowed himself to move on. The Uchiha was silent. Tobarama glanced at him and saw that there was a bit of pain in his eyes, for what he didn't know. I think that right now Naruto is the only one who can help him. He has blocked himself from us, and the other living can't see him. He called Hashirama Sad Shimmer, the Uchiha said. Tobarama nodded. A lot of the older spirits said that after Izuna had his talk with Hashirama that he stopped smiling and only did his job out of a sense of duty. The Uchiha frowned. I wonder what Izuna said to Hashirama. It was most likely saying how it was Hashirama's fault for not paying attention to how the villagers treated you that drove you away. Tobirama admitted. And he also placed a lot of blame on me, for not trying to work with you better, that because of how openly suspicious of you I was, and the lack of Hashirama doing anything, because he didn't notice, that it was those reasons that the citizens didn't trust you and drove you to the actions you did. The Uchiha looked at him, his eyes wide. It took a moment, but then the man glared. Damn it, Izuna! He hissed. Tobirama raised an eyebrow. My brother always did hate you, Senju. It was neither you nor Hashirama's fault for what happened. I was used to being an outcast, whether in my clan for my eyes, or in the village for my power and the rumors. I could deal with your suspicions, hell, I even supported the fact that Hashirama was made the Hokage. What I could not accept was the fact that the clans were being destroyed, that the peace we had worked so hard for was falling down around us, and there was nothing we could do. I wanted peace. Tobirama stared at the Uchiha who had activated his Sharingan when he mentioned his eyes. The three Tomo were spinning wildly in the man's eyes. The Uchiha collapsed onto one of the chairs in the office. Looking at the man, he wondered what happened. Something had gone on behind the scenes that neither he nor Hashirama knew about. What happened? The man seemed reluctant, but after a moment he sighed. Back before I left the village, I was reading the stone tablet that had been passed among the Uchiha clan for generations. The Sharingan could only decipher a bit of it, the Manjiku a bit more, but it was the eternal Manjiku that told me about the infinite Tsukuyumi. A genjutsu that would cover the world and bring everyone peace, and that it would be the salvation of the Uchiha clan. I spent a bit planning how to bring it to fruition. I had left the village in order to find out more about the infinite Tsukuyumi. I found more information scattered about, and I encountered the Kyuubi. Taking control, I returned to complete the next step, to gain the Rinnegan. Tobirama's eyes narrowed as the Uchiha continued his tale. The man looked worn down. The Uchiha looked out the window. As you know, me and Hashirama fought in the Valley of the End where I supposedly died. But I had gotten what I had come back for, which was Hashirama's cells. I grafted it onto my own body and waited for the Rinnegan to form. But by the time the Rinnegan formed, I was getting to be too old, and I could only prolong my life after summoning the demonic statue. I waited, and eventually things happened where I found a boy to mold to my whim, a Bito Uchiha. The Uchiha's voice was full of regret. The man let out a tired sigh. After I had broken the boy to my will. And here the Uchiha flinched. Tobirama could clearly see that the man was ashamed of his actions. I gave him my name to use in Black Zetsu, who I believed to be the manifestation of my will from the demonic statue. The Uchiha stood up and started pacing. All throughout this time I continued feeling like I had betrayed my brother, like he was judging me. What I did not know was that the feeling was not natural. In fact, it was Zetsu manipulating me. It was a subtle poison he used. When I died the first time, I had used a time-delayed Izanagi to bring myself back to life. As a spirit at that time, I watched Zetsu merge into my body. Of course, when I became alive again, I could not remember my time as a spirit. When I revived, my head felt more clouded than before, though I did not realize it until after I had died the second time. My head felt more clear, and I watched as Obito left to continue what he believed I wanted. I watched as Zetsu grinned and spoke out loud to his mother, saying that soon he would be able to bring her back. I was manipulated. I know that does not excuse my actions, and if Obito follows the plan and revives me, I will once more forget this information. So I will train Naruto to fight off Zetsu and me if needed, so that Hashirama's peace can be upholded. It may not be perfect, but it is better than the Warring State era. Tobirama thought over what the Uchiha had told him. He wasn't apologizing for his actions, and he did not expect forgiveness, in fact saying that he will most likely cause trouble in the future because of this Zetsu person. But he was trying to fix it as best he could by training Naruto. How long do you think we have before this Zetsu makes his move? The Uchiha shrugged. I do not know. Before that blasted Edo Tensei of yours was used on me, I was watching Obito manipulate the Mizukage. Tobirama glanced up sharply at him. What do you mean my Edo Tensei was used on you? Orochimaru of the Sannin summoned me using it. Naruto was laying on a table and was unconscious. The man tried to remove my eyes. Luckily, though, they turned to dust. But he seemed more amused than anything as he took out one of Naruto's eyes, which were badly damaged like they had been stabbed. He placed Naruto's eye in my Edo Tensei eye socket after removing my eye once again. And then my eye reformed using the material from Naruto's eye. He then removed that merged eye and placed it in Naruto. He did the same with the boy's other eye. Tobirama's eyes were wide in shock. Naruto's monochromatic vision is not his normal eyesight. He was able to see color before. I have a suspicion that his ability to see us is somehow from what Orochimaru did, the Uchiha stated with a scowl. I'd only decided originally to watch over Naruto, because it was more amusing to watch him than to continue trying to follow my apprentice around. That is a lot of information you have provided, Tobirama stated, narrowing his eyes a bit. I have made many mistakes, Tobirama. Excuse me for trying to do what I can to make up for it, the Uchiha bit out. I will take this information into consideration. What does Naruto know of it? None. I still have yet to tell him my name, though I think he does know and just keeps calling me guardian because he wants to, the Uchiha admitted. Tobirama nodded. It made sense that Naruto would know. If he also knew the stigma attached to his guardian, then that could be why he refused to admit he knew the Uchiha's name. The third has decided that Naruto is to receive a bit of Anbu training, mostly around the aspects of information. What do you know about the Uchiha's plot of throwing a coup? The Uchiha's eyes widened a bit. The clan is planning a coup? Tobirama nodded. I do not know anything about it. A rouge Uchiha wearing an orange mask with one eye hole is found to be appearing, hinging into a random Uchiha and spreading rumors to egg on the coup. Obito. The Uchiha confirmed Tobirama's forming suspicion. I did not tell him to do this. If he is not doing it of his own violation, it could be that Obito is being further manipulated by Zetsu, the Uchiha stated. If you have further need of me, I will be watching over Naruto, the Uchiha said after a few minutes passed with each thinking to themselves about the situation. Chapter 8. It was now his second day for the academy. Naruto, after he got ready and ate, went to the academy looking for a seat. A few people had changed seats, but the spot next to the boy Shino was still open. Going over, he sat next to the boy who didn't protest, so he figured it was okay. His guardian stood behind him as usual, his mostly silent presence a comfort as Naruto saw some of the kids point at him and whisper amongst themselves. The boy next to him shifted and Naruto looked at him. The kids here do not like you. Why? He questioned bluntly. Naruto shrugged. I dunno, I guess their parents told them to avoid me. Why? The boy questioned. I dunno, they've always hated me, he replied. It is illogical to hate someone who has done nothing, the boy stated. Naruto blinked and frowned. Does that mean you don't hate me? He cautiously asked. So long as you do nothing wrong, then I will not hate you. He beamed at the kinda weird boy. Can we be friends then? He asked hopefully. What do you think of bugs? Shino asked in return. Naruto shrugged. I don't mind them. Then we can be friends. He was beaming the entire class period. When recess came, he and Shino looked for bugs around the playground. It was the start of a wonderful friendship. At the end of the day, he was about to return to his apartment when an Anbu shimmer appeared. The Hokages would like to talk to you. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that before changing course to head to the Hokage tower. Do you know what they want to see me for, guardian? He asked, looking up at his guardian. The man smirked down at him. I have an idea, yes. Naruto entered and the secretary stopped him. Please wait a moment, Naruto-kun, the Hokage is finishing up a meeting. The young boy sat down and waited. The Anbu shimmer went into the office. He didn't come back out. 20 slow minutes later the door opened and a man came out with a frown on his face. He had short hair that was a darker shade of gray and wore a simple kimono that had diamond patterns around the bottom of it. The man glanced at him, and Naruto smiled and waved. The man gave a nod to him, before turning and leaving. You can come in now, Naruto-kun. Gigi's voice came through the door. Naruto went into the room, shutting the door behind him. You guys wish to see me? He asked, looking at both the third and the second. I will let Tobirama go first, his Gigi said with a bit of a frown. Tobirama looked towards Naruto. The spirits are setting up a spy network for you to use. Once it's fully set up, the information will come either directly to me, in which I can tell you so that you can inform the Hokage of relevant information. Naruto gave a nod before turning to the third. They are setting up a spy network to be able to gather information for you. Good, now because of how important your information can be, it is likely you might have to contact me, or if you are able to contact me, then you are to contact the Anbu commander. Naruto frowned. Anbu commander? From right behind him a voice said. That would be me. Naruto jumped and spun around, gathering chuckles from the living and the dead. He pouted. That was mean. The Anbu commander continued staring at him, or at least Naruto thought he was, since he couldn't see his face through the mask. After being informed of your ability, I have been tasked with training you. You will be given some training as an Anbu, only focusing on the information parts and communication. No one outside of this room is to know of your ability. None of the living, that is, without permission from either Hokage-sama or me. As he said this, 3 other Anbu came out from hiding, revealing a sloth, a hummingbird, and a fox-masked Anbu. These 3 will help with your training. And they will from now on be guarding you at all times, only one at a time though, and they will rotate. Naruto slowly nodded. Because of your ability, your security clearance has been raised, and that is because I trust you to not abuse this power, Naruto. The Hokage said, looking at the boy seriously. I understand, Hokage-sama. Naruto said respectfully. Understanding now was not the time to call him Gigi. Good. When you are being trained, you are no longer Naruto. You have no name, only the mask you wear. The commander said, pulling out a blank mask that was just an average gray all across instead of white with gray marks like the others. You are the one who is between worlds, so this mask is between the light of the day and the shadows of the night. Welcome, no Mani. He took the mask before asking, What color is it? The Hokage chuckled. It is gray. Naruto nodded and put it on. Blinking, he was surprised that the mask was see-through from his end. The commander looked at him and nodded. From now on you will address me simply as Commander. Yes, Commander. Naruto said. Your training will begin in an hour. I will find you. I recommend getting food. Naruto nodded and the commander disappeared. Naruto-kun, remember that no one is to know about your abilities or your training except for those in this room. The Hokage said kindly. The boy took the mask off before putting it in his backpack. I understand. If people knew of my ability, they would be trying to kidnap me or assassinate me, right? Guardian told me this back when I first started hearing him. Naruto said, looking at his guardian with a smile. The man truly was looking out for him. His guardian gave him a hair ruffle. He pretended he felt it. There is more information I need to convey to Sarutobi, Tobirama stated. Naruto nodded. Gigi, Sensei Shimmer has something to tell you. The Hokage rubbed his head. Why do I feel like this is going to give me a headache? Tobirama glared at him, not that the third saw it. It has been learned who the identity of the Rouge Uchiha is. His name is Obito Uchiha and he was believed to be dead. Instead he was rescued. He now believes himself to be acting in the will of Madara Uchiha, but is in fact operating under the will of someone called Zetsu. Naruto repeated the info. The Hokage frowned. Obito Uchiha, if my memory is correct, he was one of the members under Team Minato, along with Kakashi Hatake and Rin Noura. Kakashi is believed to be the only living member. Thank you for the information. You should go get some food though before the commander gets you. He gave a nod and left. Going to Ichiraka, he ate a bowl of ramen. With still a good 45 minutes left, he decided to go chat with Hashirama again. Heading to the field, he looked at his guardian, who seemed to be thinking about something. He wondered if the Anbu were following him even now. That someone could be following him without him knowing made him worried. Finding the flickering field again, he entered and his guardian waited outside. Hello? He greeted Hashirama. You came here again. The man sorta questioned, but it sounded like a statement. Of course. You still haven't told me why you're sad. It's not really something a kid should hear. Hashirama tried to deflect. Naruto frowned. When was the last time you interacted with someone else before me? The first Hokage didn't respond. You blocked yourself away from the people who want to help you, and the living besides for me can't see you sad, Shimmer. So I'm gonna help you. He declared with a smile. I don't deserve to be helped. The first said, looking away. Don't be stupid. Everyone deserves to be helped. Even a monster like me likes to be helped. Naruto said. The first Hokage looked up startled. What, Ash? Naruto just shrugged. The civilians don't like me. They call me a monster and a demon. I don't know why. Another thing I failed at. The Hokage muttered quietly, though Naruto still heard it with his sharp hearing. What are you talking about? How could you have failed at that? You weren't around when I was born. Konoha is supposed to be a place where children can be cherished and protected, trained in safety so that they do not have to fight. The first said despondently. Well, we are being trained at the academy, and all the other children are treated normally. I'm just the odd one out. Kinda like my guardian was. He mentioned that back when he was alive the village didn't much care for him either. He said they thought he was a warmonger. Naruto stated, carefully watching Hashirama's reaction. The man looked at him, eyes wide. Who is your guardian? I haven't learned my guardian's name, I just call him guardian. Naruto answered with a foxy grin. Hashirama frowned and shook his head. Where is this guardian of yours anyways? He's waiting outside this barrier you put up since he can't see this place. How did you find this place anyways? The first asked. Well, I was running to get away from everything when I fell down. When I looked up I saw a sort of flickering as if something was trying to not be seen, but I could see it. Naruto said with a shrug. Naruto finally sat next to the Hokage. He waited for the man to say something or ask another question, but he didn't. So Naruto just sat next to him quietly. A little bit later Hashirama looked up right as the commander appeared in front of them as if out of nowhere. You found a pretty secluded spot. The commander commented looking around. Naruto nodded. Put on your mask and this outfit. I will take you to begin your training. The commander ordered, handing him an outfit that Naruto recognized as the standardized outfit all Anbu wore. The first Hokage frowned as Naruto quickly changed his clothes before he pulled out his mask and put it on. You are an Anbu? Hashirama asked after Naruto was done. His tone seemed upset. Naruto noticed that the commander to the side grabbed his backpack, which he had shoved his other clothes into a scroll. Not really, but because of my ability I need to learn how to provide information to the third. What spirit are you talking with, Nomani? The commander asked sharply. I am speaking with Hashi-chan, Naruto said with a foxy grin, sticking his tongue out at the startled man. Hashi-chan? Said man repeated. Cause my guardian mentioned he was always annoyed when you called him Chan. So Naruto told him. See you later, sad shimmer, he said as he reached the commander. The commander picked him up and they disappeared in rush. What was that? Naruto asked when they stopped. A shunshin, the commander replied. Cool. They were outside a building that looked rather plain. The commander entered the building and Naruto followed. He followed him past several masked Anbu who, while giving no outward appearance to their shock, were staring at him. Naruto could feel it. They entered a blank room. Today I will begin your training on learning the Anbu hand signs. This is useful for conveying messages to any Anbu you need to. For now we will just focus on learning the words, but as you get a basic grasp on it we will work on your speed at forming the signs, as well as training your eyes to read the signs at high speed. Also, when you are around other Anbu you need to hide your identity. The mask you have gives your hair a more generic hair color of brown, and it can mask your voice, but people can still recognize from your speech patterns. Therefore, when you wear the mask you need to be able to change your speech patterns. Your body language as well, the way you hold yourself can give you away to those skilled enough. Naruto slowly nodded, thinking back both Tobirama and his guardian. He shifted his positioning a bit to imitate how Tobirama stood. Thinking over the way they spoke and how he copied Tobirama's tone of voice, he carefully said, Is this inappropriate? He said that word slowly, making sure to pronounce it right. Wait for me to speak? The commander nodded. You are using the same kind of tone as when you were relaying what Tobirama-sama was saying to Third Sama. Naruto gave a firm nod. Good to start with, just remember to not let people connect your mask to you. Understood, Commander, Naruto said respectfully. As you're not an actual Anbu, we can be more thorough in your training, rather than the crash course we typically just give until the Anbu choose what branch they specialize in. We already know that you need to specialize in information delivery at the moment. His guardian appeared about halfway through that statement, and took his place behind Naruto. The next few hours they went over basic hand signs, such as what, who, where, why, and how. After Naruto started working on those, his guardian commented that learning a different way to communicate those basic questions with shimmers would be beneficial. Relaying this to the commander, he agreed. It didn't take them long to develop a way to communicate those 5 questions with the shimmers. His guardian agreed to spread the word of the gestures. If Naruto twitched his head a bit, the question was who. If he moved his left arm, he was asking what. His right arm was where. His left leg was why, and his right was how. Naruto had quite a lot to learn, but his training was only going to be every few days with the Anbu to give him a chance to memorize and learn how to form the hand seals. Then Anbu numbers were done with just one hand. Naruto was able to quickly memorize how to do 0 to 10, then the commander started him on the individual letters. Spelling out actual words was time-consuming, but it was a good way to be able to surely deliver the message. The commander said that if he could memorize and learn the hand signs at a decent pace, he would be done with the first bit in a half a year. That being said, he didn't expect Naruto to remember all the letters right away. He just wanted Naruto to remember what he could. If he didn't think the hand sign was correct, then he didn't want Naruto to practice it. Finally, Naruto was done for the day. The commander took him outside and then used Shunshin to get him to a place where he was alone. Then he handed him a scroll. The commander showed him how to unseal it, and then how to reseal it. Naruto unsealed his backpack and other clothes. Quickly changing, he placed his mask and outfit into the scroll. I will find you when it is time for your next training. Naruto beamed. Got it, he said, and left. It was getting late, and he was hungry again. Time for more ramen. Chapter 9. He focused on his senses and felt Naruto's chakra, which was like a beacon with how much of it the boy had. Going to the location, he found himself surprised with how secluded it was, a small clearing off the side of one of the paths up the Hokage monument. You're dismissed for now, he told Sloth, who was the one currently watching Naruto. The boy was sitting on a bench gazing at the flowers absent-mindedly. The boy looked to the side before looking up at him. You found a pretty secluded spot, he commented, making it obvious that he was looking around. Naruto gave a simple nod. He gave silent approval for not answering the unasked question. Put on your mask and this outfit. I will take you to begin your training, he ordered the boy. The boy came over to him, and he handed the boy his outfit. The boy changed clothes, relatively quick for a kid but still slow for even a genin. The commander scolded himself for thinking that Naruto has had no training, and was in fact only 6 years old. He should remember that the boy would have to be trained patiently. He doubted that Naruto could truly understand the importance his ability gave him. After the boy shoved his clothes into his backpack, he grabbed it and sealed them into a scroll which he placed in his pocket. He watched as the boy turned to the bench before speaking. Not really, but because of my ability I need to learn how to provide information to the third. He frowned and questioned. What spirit are you talking with, Nomani? He did not like not knowing what was going on, and the fact that there were invisible people around sent him into paranoid mode. I am speaking with Hashi-chan, Naruto said with a foxy grin before the boy stuck his tongue out at the bench. The commander frowned behind his mask. Hashi, as in Hashirama the first Hokage? Cause my guardian mentioned he was always annoyed when you called him Chan. So nah, Naruto said to the bench, where the commander was forced to assume Hashirama was. See ya later, sad shimmer, the boy commented over his shoulder as he walked to him. Hashirama being called Sad Shimmer. The Umbu commander supposed that the codename was acceptable. After all, no one who heard the stories of the first could ever think of the man as sad. The commander picked Naruto up and used the Shunshin to take them to their front entrance to the Umbu building. It might seem like it would be obvious, but in fact none of the valuable information was kept here. This was just a place for them to hang out in their off time, or to train new recruits. A lot of the Umbu had no outside life, and the mask was their only identity, and so they lived in this building. What was that? Naruto asked. A Shunshin, the commander replied. Cool. The commander entered the building and Naruto followed without having to be told. They passed by several other Umbu who were shocked at the tiny new Umbu following him. Who is the boy? Lion asked as he passed by. Special training recruit, he replied back. The others weren't to know that it was Naruto being trained, but there was no way to hide that a boy was being trained. Better to satisfy their curiosity with what he could, than to have them try and find out themselves. He glanced to the boy, who seemed oblivious to the communication going on. He would have to fix that so the boy could see and communicate at Umbu speed. The boy would need that to be able to provide and receive information as quickly as possible. He brought them into a blank room. This room was now Naruto's training room, and if the boy was accepted to be a full Umbu member when he was old enough, then it would become his personal room if he so choose. Today I will begin your training on learning the Umbu hand signs. This is useful for conveying messages to any Umbu you need to. For now we will just focus on learning the words, but as you get a basic grasp on it we will work on your speed at forming the signs, as well as training your eyes to read the signs at high speed. Also, when you are around other Umbu you need to hide your identity. The mask you have gives your hair a more generic hair color of brown, and it can mask your voice, but people can still recognize from your speech patterns. Therefore, when you wear the mask you need to be able to change your speech patterns. Your body language as well, the way you hold yourself can give you away to those skilled enough, he explained to the boy, trying to make it as clear as possible to the child. Why had he recommended this again? Yeah, cause the boy can speak with spirits no one else can see. He saw the boy start thinking, and he inwardly twitched at how much of the boy's thoughts and emotions could be read through his posture. That would be fixed eventually. He watched as the boy's posture changed. It reminded him of how the boy shifted his posture when he was imitating Tobirama. The boy slowly spoke as he said, "Is this an appropriate way for me to speak?" The commander gave a nod. You are using the same kind of tone as when you were relaying what Tobarama-sama was saying to Third Sama, he stated. It was relatively different from how the boy normally sounded. Eventually the boy would be able to switch between the two easily. For now, though, if the boy needed a bit of time, that was fine. Naruto gave a firm nod in response to his statement. Good to start with, just remember to not let people connect your mask to you, he told him. Understood, Commander, Naruto said respectfully. As you're not an actual Anbu, we can be more thorough in your training, rather than the crash course we typically just give until the Anbu choose what branch they specialize in. We already know that you need to specialize in information delivery at the moment, he told the boy. The next few hours they went over basic hand signs such as what, who, where, why, and how. After Naruto started working on those hand signs, he made good progress. Then he tilted his head, and then looked at the commander. My guardian says that it would be good for me to develop a way to ask those 5 questions to the shimmers silently. He nodded. It was a good idea. Taking a bit of time, they managed to quickly develop a system Naruto could use to communicate with the spirits silently. Then they continue on with him showing Naruto the signs and saying what it was, and Naruto copying the hand sign and repeating what it was. The boy had a lot to learn, and he doubted the boy could memorize all of it, but as long as he remembered a fourth of it correctly by the time they next met, then the boy would be doing good. Then he was finished training Naruto for the day. After taking him to a place where no one would spot Naruto, he handed the boy a sealing scroll and taught him how to use it. The boy took his stuff out and changed, and then sealed his Anbu stuff in the scroll. I will find you when it is time for your next training, he told the boy. The boy grinned brightly and said, Got it. Then the boy turned and wandered off. He watched for a moment before he made his way to the Hokage tower. Clear out, he signed to the Anbu who were in the Hokage's office, and they left. How did it go? The third asked, looking at him. Nomani is learning well, and the guardian had him develop a way so he could silently communicate with the shimmers. I have set him to start learning the basics. I have also started him on developing his alter ego without telling him that was what it is. Good. Anything else to report? When I found him, he was in a clearing. He spoke with a shimmer he called Hashi-chan. I thought he was referring to the first Hokage Hashirama, but I am not 100% sure. And the Anbu who was watching him? Sloth, I will alert you to what he reports when he reports. Good, dismissed. He left the Hokage's office. Naruto, he woke up with a yawn. Tiredly getting ready for the academy, he stumbled through his morning routine. He had stayed up late last night practicing those hand signs with his guardian. He went to the academy and sat next to Shino, who he greeted with a tired hello. The boy said hello back, and then Naruto tried to fall asleep, though his guardian kept waking him back up. But as the time passed and the tiredness faded, Naruto found himself awake again. In that you're tired but now you're awake so you can't fall asleep sort of tired way. The school day passed without anything interesting happened. Afterwards he went to the clearing to once more speak with Hashirama. Hello? He greeted, smiling. The shimmer looked at him, but didn't say anything. My guardian said that you were one of the best storytellers, Naruto mentioned after about 10 minutes of sitting in silence. Hashirama shrugged. A few more minutes of silence passed before Naruto spoke up again. So for Christmas last year Gigi came to visit me, yeah. And Tobarama happened to be following him. Well, since my guardian wasn't expecting another shimmer to visit, especially Tobarama, he wasn't hinged to hide his appearance, as he mentioned he did. I never saw him being hinged, though I think it's something to do with my ability. Anyways, Tobarama waltzes right through the wall, instant tension. Like it was so thick you could see it. Anyways, because I couldn't help but glance between the two, Gigi learned about my ability. But later the two started bickering like an old married couple. I guess they both reached their point cause they started throwing weapons at each other. I had to duck. One of them flew right over my head, and while now that I think about it, the weapon probably wouldn't have hurt me, I didn't realize that at the time. Anyways, I told them no fighting in my apartment, and they just moved the fight outside my place. Though recently the two seem to be getting along a bit better, they aren't instantly at each other's throat. I wonder what happened. Naruto rambled on. Hashirama looked a bit amused. Your guardian, what does he look like? He has long spiky hair, and a high-collared shirt. I think he said that his hair was black, but I can't really remember. Hashirama paused. It can't be, he said that Madara chose to pass on. He muttered out loud, not really to Naruto. Who said Madara passed on? Izuna. Hashirama said before he closed his mouth and turned away, though not before Naruto saw the pain in the man's eyes. Naruto tried to get the man to talk for another hour, but Hashirama said nothing. "I'll see you tomorrow." He exited out of the field and went to his guardian. I got closer. He mentioned that someone named Izuna told him Madara had passed on. His guardian clenched his fist. Tobirama might have more info. He mentioned Izuna spoke to him as well. He said, pausing. He turned to Naruto, who was just looking at him with a smile. "When you finally get him to see reason, tell that idiot that I miss him, will you?" Naruto nodded. "Of course." Naruto saw his guardian glance at him again as they finally made it back to his apartment. "Why do you not call me by my name? I'm sure you figured it out by now." He shrugged to the shimmer. "To me you are my guardian, you never complain about me calling you that, but if you would rather I call you Madara I will," he told his guardian. His guardian shook his head. "You can call me what you want." Naruto beamed. "Then I shall continue calling you guardian." The shimmer nodded at him and ruffled his hair. Naruto froze after the man was done and touched his hair. He had felt the man ruffle his hair. His guardian was staring in shock as well. Slowly he lowered his hand onto Naruto's head again, only for it to pass through. After that moment of weirdness, the rest of the day passed as per normal, with his guardian helping him learn the hand signs. The next day he went to the academy, spent recess with Shino, then after school he spent more time with Hashirama, which, while the man was okay with chatting about some stuff, other topics had him avoiding it or refusing to say anything. It was an hour or so after he arrived at the clearing when the commander appeared. Naruto changed into his Umbu clothes and then they went to the building. The commander tested him and was surprised that Naruto had managed to get half of the signs down. He went over the signs again and spent a few hours helping Naruto learn the signs. Then they were done for the day. The next day revolved much around the same, though the commander didn't appear, and so Naruto spent the time learning with his guardian. Finally, though, it was the weekend, and Naruto remembered that Tobirama said he would train him. Getting up and eating breakfast, he wondered what the man would train him in. Naruto was about to go and find the man when the shimmer walked through his wall. Tobirama looked at him. "Follow me," he commanded, walking back out the wall again. "TCH. He could have been more polite," his guardian grumbled. Naruto ran out after him, slamming his door shut behind him. Soon they arrived at a training field. "The first thing we are going to work on is your chakra control. Now, because you have a larger chakra pool than others your age, it will be harder to start with a basic leaf sticking, so we will begin with tree walking," he demonstrated. "To do this exercise you need to push chakra to your feet in order to stick to the surface. Too much chakra and you will blast off the tree, too little and you won't stick." Tobirama looked at him. "There are two common ways of learning this exercise. One is to lay down with your feet placed against the trunk until you find the amount to stick, though this is usually preferred by people with lower amounts of chakra so they can raise it until they stick. The other method is to run up the tree. This is preferred with those with larger chakras that need to learn to place less in. Because of your larger chakra, you should start with the tree running method. Most of this is just trial and error, so after today this will be up to you to complete in your own time until you get it down." The boy nodded and he began practicing the exercises. Around lunchtime, Tobirama gave him an hour and a half break. Naruto got food and then went to Hashirama's clearing, where he told the man about what was happening. The first Hokage seemed happy listening to him ramble on about stuff. Naruto even forgot the passage of time chatting away to the first, but the man let him know that an hour had passed, and so Naruto went to train with Tobirama again. The next day, Sunday, he mostly spent training by himself, though he did visit with Hashirama. The only new thing was that later in the day the Hokage summoned him to the office, and Naruto found that the third decided that unless an emergency happened, then a brief weekly meeting would suffice to get a report about what was happening, at least for now anyways. The next week passed in a simple fashion. He went to the academy, spent recess with Shino, who was becoming his best friend. Then the day would end and he would go spend roughly an hour with Hashirama before either the Umbu commander would show up or Naruto would go practice his own training in the Umbu hand signs and tree walking. Another week passed and two things happened. One, Naruto finished tree walking, and he fully memorized the very beginning of the Umbu hand signs. Tobirama came and taught him the next chakra exercise, water walking. His guardian continued to help him with the academy role, and though Naruto never said it out loud, his guardian was like the father he never had. Though he did finally get around to asking if the Shimmers knew why everyone hated him. "We do, but it is not our place to tell you. If my student has decided not to tell you, then it is his choice," Tobirama had stated as his answer. His guardian had sighed. "I would tell you, but Tobirama has made it very clear what he would do if I told you." His guardian shuddered. How Tobarama even found that thing I have no idea. His guardian murmured, a far-off gaze in his eyes. As for his Umbu training, the commander started teaching him the next set, which was basic words such as the 5 village names, basic ninja tools, days of the week, months, and finally words for emergency, invasion, and other such things. This was how his next half a year passed. He would go to the academy, spend time with Shino during recess, and then when the day ended he would spend time with Hashirama. The man seemed to open up a bit more, and slowly pieces of what happened came together. Apparently Madara's brother Izuna hated Hashirama's clan and never wanted the peace. With his dying breath he told Madara to not make peace. Madara though did, much to Izuna's displeasure, but the shimmer had a sense of duty to his brother, and as the people of Konoha died and become shimmers, Izuna made a spirit version of Konoha. Before, the shimmers had been disorganized, fighting against each other and the filth that polluted the in-between world. But when Hashirama died, a while after supposedly killing Madara, Izuna had been pissed at the man and let him have it. Izuna had said that Hashirama should have tried harder, that he should have paid attention to Madara. Hashirama didn't repeat the words Izuna had said, but rather gave Naruto the gist of it piece by piece. Izuna left to go live in the Spirit Clan grounds, stating that he wasn't leaving until he was able to give Tobarama a piece of his mind. So Hashirama took charge of the Spirit Konoha, but the words Izuna said haunted him, and from what Naruto could gather drove him deep into depression. When Tobarama arrived, he passed the duties to him before fleeing and locking himself here in the clearing, where he resided ever since. Hashirama said that he couldn't even pass on unless someone forcefully moved him on, since to move on willingly you needed to be at peace with yourself. As for his training with Tobarama, the man focused on chakra control, but he also started Naruto on the hand signs. Once Naruto could make all the hand signs perfectly and had them memorized, Tobarama started him on an exercise to help increase Naruto's speed at them and to smooth the transitioning. It started as a simple pattern: start with one like monkey, then follow it with dragon, then monkey again, then rat, monkey, then bird, so on and so on. The pattern ended up looking like monkey, dragon, monkey, rat, monkey, bird, monkey, snake, monkey, ox, monkey, dog, monkey, horse, monkey, tiger, monkey, boar, monkey, ram, monkey, hare. Once that was complete, you move to the next sign, in this case dragon, and follow the same kind of pattern: dragon, monkey, dragon, rat, dragon, bird, etc., etc. The point of the exercises was to get you familiar with the hand signs and to transition between any of them smoothly. The two-step, as it was called, was only the basic start of it. Some of the more demanding teachers made their students do a three-step in which the pattern would be monkey, dragon, rat, monkey, bird, snake, and so on so forth. Then with the dragon it would be dragon, monkey, rat, bird. The three-step was supposed to be able to help further refine the hand signs and to help with the transitions some more. But as it was time-consuming, most decided that it was not needed. Such was not the case with Tobarama, as he told Naruto once he became proficient in the two-step then he would be doing the three-step. As for his Umbu training, he was learning the hand signals at a good pace and finished the basics in hand signings a couple weeks ahead of schedule. But that was good, as it meant they could move him on to the more advanced stuff, such as being able to read the hand signs at high speed and to form them at high speed, which usually shinobi develop the speed as they learn through missions and such. Naruto didn't have that time, as they never knew when he might need to be able to rapidly communicate with the Umbu about something. Which his training with Tobarama helped, as he needed decent chakra control, which he now had, in order to channel chakra to his eyes in order to help see the hand signs. This was a trick developed by other clans to try and mimic the Sharingan. While it did what it was supposed to and enhanced a person's vision so they could see faster things, it didn't help with the mental process of understanding what was going on faster. But he was also tasked with sending chakra into his arms and hands so he would be able to move him faster, though again this wouldn't be much of a help if his brain couldn't process the information at the same time. It was only beneficial to use at the speed of what the brain could progress. After that it wasn't much help. But still, so long as his brain could process the information, then it would be useful. Which led to his next training, getting his brain used to processing at a higher speed. Which luckily enough was relatively simple. It involved sparring. At first the commander had him learn the academy basic taijutsu stance and its katos, saying that eventually Naruto would need to develop his own or inherit a taijutsu form from someone else. The commander then spared against him, starting at what he said was the average genin speed, which was still really fast for Naruto. The man only wanted him to dodge to the best of his abilities, and he wasn't putting much force into his punches, only enough to leave a light bruise, that with Naruto's healing would most likely not even form. As Naruto got used to speed and was starting to dodge more and more of the attacks, the commander would slowly increase the speed, though for now Naruto had only just started this training. But that was just his training. For his personal life he spent the few hours of free time he had with Shino, even meeting the boy's family who he was surprised to find welcoming him. But Naruto could understand it, as the Aburams were often avoided by the civilians who felt that hosting bugs inside of the body was just creepy and weird. It was one of the reasons Naruto and Shino had bonded. No one else wanted to be around the two. With his friendship with the boy, Naruto stopped causing as many pranks. Which led to what happened now. The two boys had decided to go to one of the lesser-used training fields at the edge of the village to hunt for interesting bugs. It was then they came across a group of people, who the two thought were civilians. One of the group had come up to the boys wearing what looked to be a sheepish smile. "Hey, we're a group of traveling merchants. We got lost though. Do you think you could help us out?" the man asked. "It is of no problem to help you, because helping civilians is the duty of shinobi," Shino stated in a pleasant voice. Well, pleasant to Naruto. To anyone else it would be monotone. The merchant smiled and waved the rest of the group over. "Yeah! A mission database," Naruto said with a grin. Naruto heard the group whispering behind him. "Naruto," his guardian said, going tense. Rolling his left shoulder he asked, "What?" "These are not civilians. The way they are moving, these are ninja." Naruto's eyes widened slightly. What could he do? Say Shino. Naruto started. The first thing he had to do was alert the boy to the danger they were in. Before he could even blink though, Shino was knocked out and being held tightly by one of the shinobi. Another man grabbed him tightly, holding him. "I can't believe our luck. This will definitely get us in favor of the Tsuchikage," one of them said. "Shut up," the woman said. That was the last he heard before they knocked him unconscious. He woke up to find himself bound, though they had left his mouth free. He was being carried on the shoulder of the largest man in the small group of 5. Looking around he saw his guardian keeping pace with the group, an evil look in his eyes as he glared at them. His guardian even had his Sharingan activated. Naruto looked at his guardian, who gave him a smirk. A sense of calmness spread through him. "Looks like the brat's awake," one of the man who had a scar running down his cheek said. The only woman of the group nodded. "What's your name, brat?" she questioned him as they jumped down to the forest floor. Frowning at them, he rotated his left shoulder a bit again. "For now, just answer their questions. If they ask anything that could put the village at risk, then don't answer." "Naruto Uzumaki, may I know the name of the people who kidnapped me?" he asked politely. The woman looked at him before nodding. "I am Chikyu." She had long hair, and she currently wore a basic merchant-looking shirt and pants. "The big guy who is carrying you is Ace Sakura," the man grunted. "He's a charming one, isn't he?" she said sarcastically. "The man with the scar on his cheek is his brother, Asabiruto." This man gave a nod of his head. "He's more of a conversationalist than his brother. The man who keeps bouncing around like he is on a sugar rush is Jishin." Naruto watched as the man ignored Chikyu, introducing him, instead bouncing around. "The tiny one is Mimizu." Naruto gave a nod, slightly surprised that they had actually given their names. "So why did you kidnap me?" he questioned, looking around before he asked. "And where's Shino?" "We left the pipsqueak behind. You, on the other hand, are worth quite a fortune. Of Konoha wants you back, and I'm sure they will," Chikyu said, grinning. "Tsuchikage-sama is definitely going to be pleased with us." Why do you think I'm worth a fortune and that Konoha would want me back? I'm not even a ninja yet, Databeo," Naruto said, trying to gather information. The 5 had started walking, with Asabiruto carrying him still. "Really, why would Konoha not want the son of the blasted Namikaze back?" the woman retorted with a roll of her eyes. "Who's Namikaze?" Naruto asked, confused. The woman turned to him, her eyes narrowed a bit as she slowly said, "Minato Namikaze," as if speaking to a particularly slow child. Naruto huffed, still not knowing who she was talking about. "The 4th Hokage," she said. "Oh, the Yondaime." Slowly things clicked together. "Wait, you guys think I'm the son of the 4th? I told you my last name is Uzumaki. So you were giving you mother's last name then to protect you? Okay, I can't deny that. But if I was the son of the 4th, I'm pretty sure that the village would at least like me." The woman raised an eyebrow. "Explain." "TCH, annoying," he said, copying Sloth's favorite saying. "I'm not well liked by Konoha," he stated with a huff. "Why are you not liked?" "I dunno," Naruto replied. Well, we'll do a blood test to see if you're the son of Namikaze, but you look exactly like him minus the whisker marks, she decided. Curious, he asked. What will you do with me if I am not the son of the Yondaime? She shrugged. That is for Tsuchikage-sama to decide. Why are you not resisting or trying to scream for help? Meh, I don't really see the point. If they even realize I'm missing, the civilians are more likely to celebrate me going missing than want my return. And if the ninja want to find me, then the Hokage will send a pursuit squad, Naruto said, making sure to call the old man Hokage for once. Besides, if I scream or try to resist, you guys will most likely knock me out. It's much more interesting being awake. Why was he taking this so calmly? Was what he asked himself even as he tried to answer the woman. Sure, those are all logical answers, but… Naruto glanced at his guardian, who smirked at him. Apparently my Sharingan can affect you, not any of the other living. I have temporarily suppressed your emotions so you can think clearly. Interesting, Naruto thought. Anyways, what village is Tsuchikage the leader of? Iwagakure, how old are you anyways, brat? 6, almost 7, Naruto said. You're a couple years younger than Tsuchikage-sama's granddaughter. Asusukura, the cheek scar guy, spoke. This is good for the jutsu, Jishin, Chikyu commanded. The bouncy guy stopped and did a few hand signs before clapping them, causing a gust of wind to blow outwards. Good, now let's get moving again. If anybody is in pursuit, that won't throw them off for long. The group took to the trees again. Chapter 10. 10 minutes after Naruto gets kidnapped. What? He demanded, shocked. The spirit in front of him was cowering from his killer intent. Leave, Tobirama stated with a growl. He turned to his student, who was looking up, a frown on his face. The Umbu had left for some reason. He glared at the third Hokage. Naruto has been kidnapped, he stated, even though he knew it would be useless. Deciding to try something, he focused all of his killing intent on the old man who used to be his student. The Hokage stood up. Sensei? The man cautiously asked. Sarutobi, he was doing his paperwork as per normal when he heard a faint noise. Then he could feel a faint trace of killing intent. Looking to his Umbu, he noticed that they didn't feel anything. Dismissing them, he frowned. Then he felt a stronger blast of killing intent, still relatively faint, but it reminded him of his sensei. Sensei? He called out, knowing he would get no answer. But if his teacher wanted to talk with him, why not just summon Naruto? His paranoia kicking in, he grabbed his crystal ball. Naruto Uzumaki. The crystal ball remained blank. There were only a few places in Konoha Naruto could be if it wasn't showing him. Summoning his Umbu in again, he commanded. Alert the Umbu, find Naruto Uzumaki. The four bowed and disappeared. 10 minutes later, the commander showed up. Why are the forces searching for Uzumaki? The crystal cannot see him. There are some places the ball cannot find in Konoha. Wasn't there a watch on him? Yes. I do not know where Sloth is currently. An hour later, an Umbu came in carrying Shino Aburame, Naruto's only friend his age. The boy seemed groggy. Hokage-sama, we found Aburame knocked out on one of the outskirt training fields. Inu found Naruto's scent there mixed in with foreign scents. He couldn't place them with anyone he had met before, but he said they smelled of earth. He and Sloth, who showed up a few seconds after we did, left to pursue the scent trail and requested that backup be provided. Backup granted. Send Fox and Hummingbird to back them up. Those three have the most experience with Naruto from protecting him from villagers. The Umbu bowed and left. Shino-kun, can you please tell me what happened? Me and Naruto were out at the training field looking for bugs. We found a group of what we assumed were civilians. They said they were a group of traveling merchants who got lost. We decided to help them. Naruto was saying something and then everything went black. If you send one of my clan members on the hunt, they should be able to find him, as one of my female Kakachu were planted on him. Good job. We will make sure one of the Aburame are alerted, he told Shino, smiling kindly. He saw the kid seem to fidget a bit. Well, fidget for the Aburame as he moved his glasses a bit. We will bring Naruto back safely. Your father will be here to pick you up in a few minutes. Shino nodded. The third side, he hated that he had to wait for more news, but with the team in pursuit, Naruto should be back with them by the end of the day. Naruto, so how much longer until we reach this village of yours? Naruto asked as he sat on top of the man's shoulder. The man was really huge, even bigger than in Akimichi. They had allowed him to sit upon the man's shoulder after he started complaining about his stomach hurting. The view was incredible from on top the man's shoulder. Another 3.5 days. The woman responded. It's already been. Naruto tried to think of how many it had been. 14 hours since they have knocked you out. His guardian supplied. 14 hours. Naruto finished. So? You don't think the major villages would be so close to you? Suna is the closest to Konoha, and they are 3 days away. We are 4 days away from Konoha. Kumo, I believe, is also 4 days, while Kiri is 5 days at least, because of the water, and those times are only if we are uninterrupted and move at a decent pace. Civilians take weeks to move anywhere. Chikyu answered. Over the hours she had taken it upon herself to inform Naruto thoroughly on any questions he happened to have. You know, perhaps you might want to stay in IWA. Asusukura spoke up. Huh? Naruto asked, blinking. Well, you said your village hates you, yeah? Then why not decided to stay in IWA? Well, you'll be welcome if you don't take after the bastard Namikaze. Naruto shook his head. Nope, I'm loyal to Konoha. I have my friends that I've made there. Like Shino, Tobirama, Hashirama, the Commander, and Gigi. And Fox, Hummingbird, and Sloth, though he didn't interact much with them, just once or twice a week when they brought him groceries and stuff after seeing how the civilians tried to rip him off. He knew that one was following him at almost all the time if the commander wasn't with him, which brought the question why one of his guard weren't there. Sloth, an hour after Naruto gets kidnapped, he stifled a yawn as he got up before he froze and cursed himself. He had fallen asleep on the job. Man, the commander was going to be so annoying and chew him out for this. But first he had to find Naruto. Hey, if he could find Naruto before the next shift was supposed to start, well, what they didn't know wouldn't hurt. Over here! Inu shouted. Inu and Tora were standing over the body of Shino Aburame, Naruto's friend. Sloth cursed under his breath and jumped down. I have Naruto's scent. Tora, take Shino to the Hokage and request backup. Sloth and I will go in pursuit of the scent trail. Tora nodded and picked up Shino. Understood. Inu looked towards him, and then he started chasing after the trail. Sloth started sweating bullets. Inu wasn't saying anything. There was no threatening aura. And that was scarier than if there was. He whimpered. He prayed nothing bad was happening to Naruto. When the Umbu later heard how he had fell asleep on the job and that was what caused Naruto to be kidnapped, they started placing bets on how Inu was going to make Sloth suffer. Naruto yawned after waking up. Seeing he was still with Team Earth, as he mentally called them, he shrugged and shifted to sit up on the man's shoulder. Did y'all sleep at all? He asked. When he had gone to sleep they were moving, and they were still moving now. Chikyu chuckled. Yes, we did, only for a few hours though, enough for us not to be so sluggish before we continued on. I'm bored. Janken? Asabirito grunted out. Naruto blinked. That was the first he had heard the man who was carrying him speak. Sure. As if he had passed some test, the group relaxed. The next few hours passed with the duo competing in a fierce match of Janken. Eventually the two became so accustomed to what the other was likely to do, and then they started tying. Naruto glanced at his guardian and stared at him, and so his guardian rolled his eyes but activated his Sharingan, allowing Naruto to cheat. After 20 consecutive wins, Naruto was giggling as the big man seemed to be getting frustrated. So they called it off, but it did allow Naruto a temporary reprieve from his boredom. And even though he may have cheated a little bit, he still did a little victory thing and declared himself the Janken King. His guardian snorted. Idiot. Naruto pouted, meanie. He signed subtly. Hashirama is not infecting you with his stupid depression cloud, is he? His guardian questioned with narrowed eyes. Naruto just grinned widely. An hour later his stomach rumbled. I'm hungry, he complained to his captors. Mimizu, who was the one who carried extra food rations apparently, scuttled over to him and handed him a ration bar. Thanks, Naruto said and ate it, wrinkling his nose at the taste. Does IWA have ramen? He asked. What sort of question is that? Chikyu asked. I love ramen. Ramen is the food of the gods. His guardian glared at him. Naruto's sweat dropped and added. Inazushi is a close second. And truly it was. The few times he managed to get the food, it was really good. We have both ramen and inazushi. The rest of the days passed with not much happening, other than Naruto playing his way through the rest of the members, and after playing with them a while where they started tying often because they kept trying to double bluff each other, then he would have his guardian help him cheat, which he was not ashamed of, and ruthlessly defeated them. You are the Janken King. They agreed. We might have to enter you into the Janken tournaments. That's the only way to make it official. Chikyu said, grinning, money signs appearing in her eyes. Say, what color is IWA anyways? Color? Well, because we're fire country, the Hokage has a red hat, yeah. So I was wondering if, since IWA is earth country, if your Tsuchikage had a brown cap. You'll just have to see for yourself. Naruto's sweat dropped. I can't see color though. He wasn't whining when he said that. Honestly, he wasn't. He was. The five stopped and stared at him, their eyes wide. You can't see color? No, it's not that big of a deal. At first, yes, but now he was used to seeing the world in grays. Maybe, but it means that it's harder for you to see the beauty of nature. Mimizu spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet and small. Apparently Mimizu rarely spoke, if ever. Yeah, I guess. We will be in IWA in an hour, brat. We're gonna have to tie you back up now, though. Chikyu said. Oh, why? You know I'm not gonna bother to escape. I guess. She said, agreeing. Though if you do try to run off, a lot of people in IWA hate Namikaze and will try and kill you until your presence is announced, or if you're with one of the ninja. Right. Naruto said, rapidly nodding. They arrived at IWA and the group made its way to a building. Eventually they were let into a room which had an old man in it. The man looked as old as the Hokage. Behind him stood a shimmer who looked like he was wrapped in bandages. The bandaged man paused at seeing his guardian. Why are you here, Madara Uchiha? The man asked at the same time as the Tsuchikage spoke up. What are you five doing back here so soon? The man demanded, irritated, not even bothering to look at them. HN, you two look familiar. His guardian mused, ignoring the bandaged man. The bandaged man was about to speak up but paused when he heard what Chikyu said. Sir, we believe we have found the Namikaze kid. This caused him to look up. His eyes locked onto Naruto's. Hello? He chirped in greeting. You do look like you could be that bastard's offspring, the man stated before turning to Chikyu. Why is he not bound then? Actually, just give me the full report now. And so the woman did. Naruto, quickly getting bored, looked around before shrugging and asked Asaburuto. You up for another round of Janken? The office became silent and Naruto felt people staring at him. What? I'm bored. The brat of yours sure is disrespectful, the bandaged man said. Madara simply raised an eyebrow at that but shrugged. You have already defeated all of us, multiple times, Asasukura stated. Naruto frowned. He saw his guardian get a mischievous smirk on his face. How about you ask the old man to play you? The bandaged man blinked as Naruto grinned, then as he looked at the old man, who was the Tsuchikage. Will you play Janken with me? Can the brat see us? I had heard rumors, the bandaged shimmer said, looking more closely at Naruto. The man stared at him, his eyes wide, before he threw his head back and laughed. Sure, why not? I'm the ranking king at Janken here in IWA, though brat, you're gonna lose. We will do 50 hands, first to get 25 wins is declared winner. You up for this, brat? Naruto grinned. The first 24 he would play as his own and then he would have his guardian cheat him to victory. When his guardian activated his Sharingan and told Naruto what to pick, Bandage Shimmer said, You're cheating. It is only cheating if he is caught, and none of the other living will know. His guardian told him with a smirk. 50 rounds later and Naruto won, to the shock of the old man. Say old man, what's your name? Anoki, and I ain't old brat, he grumbled. You got lucky, brat. I'm the Janken king, Naruto declared. Anoki growled. You can't say that without going through the tournament, brat. Tournament? Naruto asked, interested. This was the second time it had been mentioned. Yep, the next tournament is tomorrow. You've come just in time for the weekly semi-casual tournament. Sweet. Interesting. It is accepted that the people of Janken tournament will cheat if they can, but if they're caught they will be kicked out, and yet your brat can cheat and they won't know. The bandage shimmer spoke calmly. Anoki looked at him. ASU brothers, take him down to get his blood works done. We should have the yellow flash's DNA somewhere. Also see if you can see who that bastard reproduced with. Then bring him back here, he ordered. Understood, Tsuchikage-sama, the two brothers said before leaving Naruto being planted on top of Asaburuto's shoulders. They went to the hospital where they drew a vial of his blood. Asasukura said that it would take a few days before the blood work was done. They made their way back to Anoki's office. Now, what to do with you? Procedure says I should just throw you into a cell until the blood work is done, but Chikyu reports that you are surprisingly cooperative, he said, looking at him. Naruto shrugged. I would rather not be in the cell, And besides, I'm curious to know who my parents are. No one has ever told me. I have some of my shinobi spreading the word to the others to leave you alone. Until then, you need a personal guard. The old man mused. Yo, old man! A shout was heard as the door was thrown open. Naruto turned around from his perch on Asaburuto's shoulder. Whoa! Old man, where did you find a mini-me on? The older boy declared. He looked to be around 9 or 10. Deidara, meet Naruto Uzumaki. Anoki stated flatly. He is not a mini Deidara. He is a mini Namikaze. The boy waved him off. But look at our hair, old man. Anoki's eyes narrowed. The bandaged man sighed. Naruto frowned. What do you mean, our hair? Don't you see how our shade of hair is the exact same shade? The boy asked, looking at him. Crossing his arms, he said. I'm colorblind, so no, I don't know what color your hair is. Naruto frowned, trying to even remember his own hair and eye color. The images were fuzzy, but he was pretty sure he had blonde hair and blue eyes, maybe. So what do you think of art then? Deidara asked, his smile turning slightly maniacal. Anoki growled. Explosions are not an art, Deidara. Of course it is. Art is an explosion. On! The boy shouted back. The two started arguing. Unartistic old man. Arrogant youngster. Anoki shouted back. Naruto amusedly watched the two argue back and forth. I kinda wished I had some popcorn, he whispered. Years later, he was standing next to Kisame with a bag of popcorn as he amusedly watched Sasuke and Itachi fight. The shark man happily snagged handfuls of the buttery goodness. A few minutes later, the arguments were starting to get repetitive, and so Naruto decided to end it, and using his most innocent voice, he asked, Say Deidara-san, you any good at Janken? I'm one of the best. You're looking at number 3, Deidara said with a smirk. Would you mind playing with me? Naruto asked, ignoring the number 3. Of course. I got to practice for the tournament tomorrow where you're going down, old man, Deidara said with a large smirk. Alright then, Deidara, you and the ASU brothers are now Naruto's guards for his duration of his stay here. After his blood works are confirmed, I'll decide what to do with him then. Huh? Deidara asked, dumbfounded. Naruto here was kidnapped from Konoha, since he is being cooperative, and he is only 6 years old, then we're allowing him to roam around with guards. Deidara nodded. Say Deidara-san, after we play Janken, can we get some ramen? If you win, we will have ramen. If I win, we're eating Bakudan. We keep going until someone surrenders. Naruto nodded, and the two started. For the next hour, the two played while walking around IWA. Unlike Konoha, there wasn't as many shimmers wandering around, although the shimmers did have to look at him in shock and then with fear at his guardian staying a good distance away, although they also looked confused, cause the bandaged shimmer was following him. Finally, Naruto decided to end it, and glanced at Madara, who with a roll of his eyes activated his Sharingan, and told Naruto what moves to do. How? Deidara called out in shock about 10 rounds later when he lost every single one. I am Janken King, or I will be after I defeat everyone in the tournament tomorrow, Naruto said with a grin. You evil kid. Naruto smirked. Ramen, he declared. Yeah, Deidara grumbled. The group of 4 went to go eat ramen. Naruto wondered how Hashirama was doing. He hoped that the man was okay. Hashirama, 2 days after Naruto has been kidnapped, he frowned. Naruto hadn't come to see him in a couple days. And the kid had made it a point to visit with him every day, even if only for a couple minutes. Feeling for the kid's chakra, he couldn't find it in Konoha. Where was Naruto? If the boy was taking a trip, he was pretty sure the kid would have told him. What if something happened? Looking out, he made to stand up before shaking his head. It was too early to jump to conclusions. But you didn't pay enough attention to Madara. It's because of you that he left. If you hadn't been so self-absorbed, you could have saw how your best friend was suffering. Izuna's words haunted his mind. What if Naruto was suffering right now? A bit of his old resolve coming back, he stood up for the first time in forever. Staring at the clouds, he felt as if Izuna was watching him even now, judging him. I won't fail you, Naruto, not like I failed Madara. Hashirama threw to himself. It was time he made up for his failures. Naruto once told him that he heard a sensei talking to his team. So what if you fail? So what if you mess up once or twice, or even 100 times? Does that mean you're going to give up? Because if you're going to give up the first time things become tough, then you're not cut to be shinobi. No matter what, you don't give up. You fight on. You continue with your head high no matter what, and you do Konoha proud. Naruto said that the man's words really struck a chord with him, and with his team apparently, as they were looking at him with stars in their eyes. Hashirama took a determined breath and he made his move. He strode over to the Hokage's tower where he felt his brother's chakra. He ignored the whispers of shock from the other spirits. Hashirama! His brother said, clearly shocked as he stepped into the room. Where is Naruto? He asked. Tobirama blinked a couple times and smirked before he sighed. I'm afraid that he has been kidnapped. Our students sent a few ninja after him, but they lost the trail, though the lot were heading in the direction of IWA. I'm going to find him. Is Naruto's guardian with him? He declared before he hesitantly asked the last bit. Yes, but what is going to find him going to do? We can't communicate that fact with Sarutobi, Tobirama said. That is your job to figure out. And if I can find him, then I can try and bring messages between him and you, if need be, Hashirama stated before he turned and left. Chapter 11. Naruto. The two boys quickly finished eating and then Deidara asked, You never answered my question, Naruto blinked. What question? What do you think of art? He shrugged. I dunno, I like doodling, but other than my drawings I've never really seen any art. Deidara stared at him in horror. Follow me. I will show you my art. The two brothers behind him sighed. Naruto just shrugged and followed Deidara. Once at the training field, Deidara brought out some clay objects that when Naruto got a closer look saw they were spider-like things. Watch, Deidara said as he threw the spider. He made a hand seal and the spider enlarged, becoming 4 times as big as before. Katsu! The supposed blonde shouted, making a cross seal. The spider blew up in a large blast. Naruto watched the explosions happen. It was pretty cool, though he guessed it would be color if he wasn't colorblind. Well, what do you think? The boy asked, excited. It was really cool. Can you tell me the colors and stuff? Naruto asked, wondering what color the explosions were. The older boy looked sheepish. I'm sorry. I forgot you can't see colors. I guess not being able to see the beauty of the reds and oranges and the white when they blow up can diminish some of artistic beauty. Naruto just shrugged. For the next 10 minutes Deidara rambled on about the artistic qualities of his explosions. The boy said he will be right back and 5 minutes later came back with crayons and paper. I want to know what you saw. What colors will you need? Gray, black, and white. Naruto said he had done these a couple times for the Hokage or his shimmers who wanted to know how he saw things. He began working on the drawing and an hour later he was done. Deidara-san, the drawing, he said, handing the drawing to the boy who had been working on his clay. You don't have to add the suffix, he commented, walking over to Naruto. Wow. This is how you see my art? Deidara asked. It's how I see everything, in varying shades of gray. You poor boy, Deidara said, throwing his arms around him. Naruto flinched, not used to people touching him. Deidara noticed. Hey, you okay? Yeah, you just surprised me is all. The older boy gave a small nod. Naruto yawned. It was starting to get a bit later in the day. What's your sleeping arrangements? Deidara asked. Naruto shrugged. The older boy looked at his guards, who also shrugged. To the old man then, Deidara shouted. The boy ran off, leaving Naruto once more to chase after him, the two brothers keeping up with him. Naruto arrived a few seconds behind Deidara, panting out of breath. The boy grinned and threw the door open. Yo! Old man! He shouted as he entered. Naruto followed behind and the brothers shut the door behind him. Brat! Anoki grumbled, giving the boy a glare. What are you doing here? Deidara opened his mouth when the door slammed open again. Old man! A voice shouted. Naruto turned and saw it was a girl who looked only a couple years older than him and a year or two younger than Deidara. Kuratsuchi, Anoki said, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Are the rumors true that we captured the Namikaze brat? She demanded. We are doing the blood work for it, and what have I told you? He looked at both of them. What have I told the both of you about entering my room in such a manner? To not, the two replied with similar eye rolls. Kuratsuchi, the blonde-haired brat, is Naruto Uzumaki, the one who the Earth Squad thought was Namikaze's brat. Naruto gave a friendly wave. Hiya! She scowled at him. What's he doing out of the cells then? He pouted. Anoki scowled at her. Uzumaki has been cooperative, so we are allowing him some measure of freedom. Besides, he's only 6. I'm nearly 7. Naruto added with a grin. Say, you good at Janken? He asked with an overly innocent smile. One thing he was really liking about IWA was that everyone seemed willing to play with him. I'm one of the best, the girl said arrogantly. I'm number 5 on the leaderboard. 3 rounds of 21 hands, she stated. Naruto nodded his agreement. The two played and Naruto allowed her to win the first round rather thoroughly, then in the second round he made it as if he barely won. Then smirking in the third round he completely crushed her. His guardian smirked at him and muttered, I taught him well. Naruto just grinned. Bandit Shimmer sighed. So why did you come here, Deidara? Inoki asked. Huh? Oh yeah. What's Naruto's sleeping arrangements? He will stay the night in the Bunbetsu no Aru Hotel. Naruto gave another yawn. Thanks, old man, Deidara said. Let's go then, Minimi. He gave a slow blink at that, then shrugged and followed the older boy. Behind him he heard Inoki grumble to himself. Something about youngsters. Deidara led them to a rather nice-looking hotel. Then after checking with the receptionist and getting a room key, Deidara led him to his room. I'll come pick you up tomorrow. Since the tournament is semi-casual, we'll have to get you some nicer clothes. Anyways, good night, little Naruto. Good night, Naruto said with a wave. Do not think you're alone, you still have guards watching you even now. His guardian told him before Naruto could speak up. The bandit Shimmer had stayed back in the Tsuchikage's office. Naruto yawned and after laying down he fell asleep. He woke up to his shoulder being shaken. Startled, he jumped away from whoever was touching him, feeling panic. Calm down, Naruto. It's me, Deidara, the older boy said, holding his hands up. Geez. You gave me a heart attack, sneaking up on me when I'm sleeping like that, Naruto said, taking a few breaths. Looking around he saw his guardian, who asked, Would you like me to help suppress your emotions again? Naruto debated for a moment before giving a small nod. He didn't want to cause a scene because he had been freaking kidnapped by one of Konoha's biggest enemies. As he looked into his guardian's Sharingan, he felt a wave of calm come over him. Deidara was watching him with concern. You okay? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I'm fine now. I'm not used to being woken up like that. Deidara just gave a slow nod in response. Let's get some breakfast, and then we'll get you some better clothes. Then we'll head over to the stadium. Old man Inoki said he will sponsor your entry into the tournament since you beat him in the casual game. Cool. The two went to eat some bakuden before getting Naruto some new clothes. It was a loose top that Deidara said was gray with brown trimmings. Because Naruto asked if it could be down, they added the leaf symbol in a red on the back. Cause Naruto was a loyal Konoha citizen, even if he was enjoying his vacation, as he had decided to call this kidnapping scenario. A few minutes later he had his shirt, and then he was given a pair of black pants. Again, according to Deidara. His guardian didn't say otherwise, so Naruto believed the boy was telling him the truth on the colors. He changed into the new clothes, which felt surprisingly soft on his skin. Deidara beamed at him. Looking good, he said. Now the tournament's going to start in about an hour, but we got to get you signed up. Let's go find the old man. So they went to the Tsuchikage's office. Old man! You said you were gonna sponsor Naruto here. Let's get him signed up. So the group left to the big stadium. Naruto was signed up. Suddenly Naruto got an idea. Inoki-sama, he started respectfully. If I can do this entire tournament without losing a single hand, is there a prize? The old man laughed. Brat, if you can do the entire tournament without losing a single hand, we'll make you an honorary IWA shinobi, despite your ties to Konoha. Naruto stared wide-eyed. He had just wanted to get some food if he could do it. Inoki chuckled. Uzumaki, I don't know what tournament Konoha has, but we IWA shinobi take our Janken very seriously. I don't think Konoha has any tournament. Naruto mused. Really? HMPF damn tree huggers. The man grumbled. We don't know what tournaments Kiri or Suna have, just that they have one, but we know Kumo has speed tournaments. Naruto nodded. He looked to his guardian, who smirked at him. Yes, I will help you not lose a single hand. Being considered an honorary ninja for a country not your own is a pretty big deal. I will explain more later if they do not properly explain it to you. Announcements were made and then the tournaments were starting. Naruto faced off against his first opponent. There were hundreds of other pairs sitting against each other. The first round was 3 rounds, with 21 hands, which was the common casual play apparently. Naruto played against his first victim, or opponent, and won easily, not losing a single hand thanks to his guardian. The first round ended quickly, and then the second began, and then the third, which they were now down to 25 people, not including the top 10, who apparently didn't have to play against anyone else until there was a finalist from the common grounds. Names were drawn and the rounds were changed to 5 rounds of 21 hands. Naruto played against his opponents and kept winning, not losing a single hand. People were starting to realize now and were whispering. Finally he was declared the victor of the common ground and now had the option of challenging the Great 10. But he had to first fight against number 10, and then work his way up before he was declared winner. The rounds changed again, to 3 rounds of 50 hands. One by one he fought and defeated the Great 10 without losing a single hand until it was just him versus Inoki. "I underestimated you, brat. I didn't think you could actually win without losing a single hand, but that ends here," he declared as they sat at the table. "I'm gonna win," Naruto stated with a smirk. "Because this is the final battle, why don't we make this interesting? 3 rounds of 100 hands. What does the audience say?" The announcer called out. The audience roared in approval. His guardian snorted. The round started and Naruto fought against Inoki, his guardian calling out hand signs so Naruto would win without losing a single hand. After a long and intense battle, Inoki was sweating heavily as Naruto grinned viciously. It was the last hand of the round. "Do paper," Madara said. Inoki clenched his hand and threw out his fist. Naruto smirked, and at the same time his hand opened up into paper. He had won. Inoki stared in shock. "I don't know how you did it, brat." Naruto smirked at him. "I am Janken King." "Yes you are, for now anyways." The announcer called out his victory and for a few seconds everything was quiet before the crowd started cheering. "Alright brat, we'll make you an honorary shinobi later today, but first let's get some food," Inoki said, smirking at him. Naruto nodded. "You know, if you didn't look so much like that damn Namikaze, I wouldn't think you could be his brat." "What do you mean?" "The Namikaze bastard hated Janken." Naruto stared wide-eyed. "How?" Inoki shook his head. "I don't know. I'm sure Konoha thinks we hate him because he slaughtered thousands of us. But that's standard ninja business. We despise him because he hated Janken." Inoki grumbled. Naruto shuddered. "How can someone not like Janken? They must be inhuman." Inoki nodded in agreement. "Minato," he paused from his mindless floating in the Shinigami's stomach. "Why do I feel like my own son is doing something I despise?" Another pause. "And that for some reason he's talking with that old bastard Inoki about me?" He shrugged. "I must be going crazy. There's no way my son can like Janken and be talking about me with Inoki." Naruto sneezed. "Alright brat, let's get you a headband," Inoki said. "Yay! Thanks Inoki-sama," Naruto said with a grin. At least he was accepted here in IWA, and if he could do it here then he could do it in Konoha. "Congratulations, Naruto!" Deidara shouted, running up to him. "How did a brat like you defeat grandfather and me?" Kuratsuchi demanded, walking up to him as well. "Grandfather?" Naruto asked, confused. "The old man there is my grandfather." "Oh. Well, I'm the Janken King, that's why," Naruto said pompously before sticking his tongue out. "You brat!" she shouted and came towards him with her fists raised. Naruto yelped and ran. "Get back here, you brat!" she shouted. "No!" Naruto yelled back, turning a corner and sliding under a cart, very used to being chased. A few minutes later he paused. He hadn't heard Kuratsuchi's voice for a few seconds. Looking around he frowned, wondering where he was at. Shrugging, he looked for the Tsuchikage's building and started walking that direction. "There you are, Naruto!" Deidara shouted a few minutes later. Naruto waved. "How did you escape from Kuratsuchi? That old man's granddaughter is one of the fastest of her age, faster than even most genin." "Really? I guess it's 'cause I'm used to running away from the Chunin back in Konoha after I pulled off a prank." "Oh, you're a prankster?" Deidara asked. "Yep." "Cool." The two continued walking, making their way to the tower. Once there they went up to Inoki's office. "Well, congratulations, Naruto. You're the first Konoha ninja to be made an honorary member of IWA, and to get into our Red Alert book." "Red Alert book?" "A Red Alert book is a book of people who can ruin your pride and embarrass you to the fullest extent in different things. Like Adano is known as the fastest person, and if you ever try to get into a race with him you're going to lose. You are in there as a Janken master, of course. Now if you lose against someone your reputation will take a hit, Basically, the Red Alert book is just a list of people who are the master at something, and choosing to challenge that person is usually not wise unless you're confident. I used to be in it as Janken King since I haven't lost in over 50 years. Wow! Naruto said as he grabbed the IWA headband he had been given. It was almost a normal IWA headband except that the symbol had a circle around it. The blood work should be done tomorrow, Anoki stated with a smirk. So long as you have the headband on you, none of my ninjas should give you trouble. Once your blood work is done, then I will send Konoha a message so they can pay up for us to give you back. Naruto just nodded and tied the headband around his neck. Naruto, let's go spar a bit, Deidara said with a grin. Sure. The two went and sparred for a little bit before getting dinner, and Naruto returned to the hotel. He was about to fall asleep when a shimmer burst through his wall. Naru-chan! Hashirama shouted and tried to give him a flying tackle hug only to pass right through him. Naruto looked at his guardian. We are alone. With a grin, Naruto waved at Hashirama, who was pouting. Hello, Hashi-chan. Tobirama says you were kidnapped. Are you okay? They didn't hurt you, did you? If they hurt you, I'll destroy them. Hashirama asked, coming over to him and looking at him, checking for injuries. I'm fine. Actually, I kinda became welcomed here as an honorary shinobi, Naruto stated, rubbing the back of his head. The room's atmosphere started to become heavier. Really, how did you do that? Hashirama asked, seemingly oblivious. Naruto glanced to where his guardian had his arms crossed and was glaring at Hashirama. Well, Janken, Naruto said with a grin. Hashirama. His guardian growled out. The man slowly turned to him. Madara. His voice was shaky and his eyes were wide. HMPF, this is the first time you see me since you would not leave that field of yours and you just ignore me? The atmosphere became heavier with every word. Hashirama bent down and started drawing circles in the ground. I'm sorry, Baka. His guardian grumbled and walked over to Hashirama. He paused as he stood over him, and then he crouched down in front of him. Hashirama looked at him with wide eyes. It is not your fault for what happened, his guardian stated softly. Then he grabbed Hashirama's hand and stood up, bringing Hashirama up with him. You better not have gotten rusty. As soon as we get back to Konoha, we're going to spar, his guardian stated, in lieu of actually saying that he missed the man. Hashirama obviously still got the message though, as for the first time since Naruto had met the man, Hashirama beamed. His whole face lit up. Ah, Dara-chan missed me, he said, throwing an arm around his guardian. Madara scowled at him, but Naruto could tell it was only for show. Grinning mischievously, Naruto called out. Ah, how cute, when are you two gonna kiss? He teased. His guardian growled at him. You brat, he said, and went to whack Naruto's head. Not expecting it to hit, Naruto didn't move, but then was shocked when Madara's hand collided with his head in a gentle cuff. The two shimmers and Naruto paused. That is the second time that has happened, his guardian said with a frown. Naruto yawned. I'm tired, he said, lying down. Sleep, Naru-chan, Hashirama said with a smile. Naruto nodded and soon he fell asleep. Chapter 12. Naruto. He woke up the next morning and wrinkled his nose as he tried to smooth out his clothes Deidara had gotten him. He hoped he could return home soon. Exiting his room, Hashirama and Madara followed him, both of them silent, but they seemed happy. He grabbed breakfast at the ramen stand Deidara had taken him to the other day. Next thing he heard was a bunch of high-pitched screeches. Uggo, his guardian stated. Naruto felt something in him scream in horror. Some instinct in him was screaming to run. Run far, far away. Naruto, run! Just run! His guardian shouted. Trusting him, he took off. He heard footsteps racing behind him and shouts. It's Naruto-kun! Naruto-kun! Come play with me! He glanced over his shoulder and saw a horde of girls his age and older by a few years. No, me! He heard the sound of fighting, but he didn't stop. Eventually he ran into the Tsuchikage building after having lost the crowd of girls. What was that? Naruto asked aloud in a shaky voice. Fangirls. His guardian deadpanned. I see your fangirls finally found you, Anoki said with a chuckle. What, how? Naruto asked, unable to grasp that he had fangirls. He had seen that some of the girls in Konoha had taken to stalking Sasuke, but never as many as he had seen chasing him just now. IWA takes its Janken very seriously, Anoki stated. You came here just in time though, the results are in. Naruto's eyes went wide. You know who my parents are? Inoki nodded. Indeed, you are the son of Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash, and Kushina Uzumaki, the red-hot habanero. They weren't traitors, Naruto said slowly. His legs gave out from underneath him. You really didn't know? Inoki asked. Naruto shook his head. All my life the civilians told me my parents were worthless traitorous drunks. That they abandoned me. Gigi said that they died the night of the Kyuubi's attack, but he never said more than that. Everyone else told me other things though. Gigi? Inoki asked with a frown. Yeah, Hokage-sama, he allows me to call him Gigi. Naruto stated with a shrug. Inoki nodded, then he cackled. Feel free to call me Aji-san. Anyone good enough to beat me in Janken is worthy. His guardian snorted and Hashirama face-bound. Naruto's sweat dropped as the old man seemed highly amused for some reason. The bandit shimmer sighed. Okay. Pausing, he tested out the name. Inoki Aji-san. Inoki smirked at him. Now I've already sent the messenger bird to Konoha. Enjoy your stay here in IWA. The old man turned to head to his office and grumbled under his breath. Now what the hell does Kuma want? Naruto shrugged and left, going to look for Deidara. After another chase by the fangirls, he found the boy on a training field messing with some clay. Hi Deidara! Hey Naruto! The two spared for a little bit, with Naruto receiving advice from Hashirama and his guardian. After the spar they went to go eat, and Naruto had to run away from a group of fangirls yet again. Just be glad you're so young that your fangirls are not interested in dating you yet. His guardian commented dryly as they lost the fangirls, which for some reason was even harder than Chunin. Oh hey Naruto! Asusukura called out. He was standing with the other males of Squad Earth. Hey, Naruto replied. What's up? We were about to go to the hot spring. Want to join us? Sure, Naruto agreed. The group went and started relaxing. So what do you know about being an honorary shinobi of IWA? Asusukura asked. Nothing really. Okay, so being honorary shinobi means that you are first and foremost a ninja of another village, or in your case, since you're loyal to Konoha, you will be a ninja. The station automatically gives you the rank of genin here in IWA, though you should probably join some teams with D ranks if you want to do any missions. But other than us saying you're someone we trust enough to let in our village without keeping a guard on you at all times, that's about it. You obviously won't be trusted with any really sensitive information. The one other thing is, if you ever decide to leave Konoha's ninja ranks, you'll be welcomed here in IWA. Within reason, of course. For example, if you say kill someone for no reason, then we might not be as welcoming. Depends. Oh. About the Janken tournament, we try and keep outsiders as in the dark as possible. It's not really a secret, just something we like to do for fun. Asusukura explained. Naruto nodded. Cool, what's a D rank? With that, Asusukura explained the mission ranking system. After they were done with the hot springs, since Naruto wanted to try a D rank mission, they agreed to team up with him. The mission they got was to clean up one of the parks from litter. Naruto did it without complaining, as he was happy about technically being a ninja. That night Naruto fell asleep exhausted, though he did have some night clothes now which he put on, and sealed his other clothes in a sealing scroll he bought with the money from the mission. He put the scroll in his pajama pockets, just in case a fangirl decided to rummage through his stuff. When he woke up, he felt his hands were bound, as were his feet, and he was even gagged, and he was being carried. He was also blindfolded. Naruto inwardly sighed. How was he being kidnapped again? The brat is awake, a rough voice said. Good, how that old fart can pay us for capturing this brat. Naruto blinked, completely confused. Which old man are you talking about? He tried to ask, although it was muffled by the gag, so it just came out as MMMPHF. Does the brat wish to speak? The rough voice taunted. Naruto nodded as best he could. The gag was taken off. Okay, first of who are y'all? Why did you kidnap me? And what old man are you talking about? The rough voice responded. We're Kumonin. We kidnapped you because of your popularity in IWA. We figure we can get the old fart Inoki to pay us some money for you. So we know your name is Naruto, and that somehow you're popular in IWA. Naruto sighed. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I belong to Konoha. IWA kidnapped me. And I'm popular cause I participated in their tournament and won. Uzumaki? A different voice asked. You wouldn't be the son of Kushina Uzumaki, would you? Well, I guess I am, according to IWA anyways. Naruto said with a shrug. What do you mean by that? The rough voice asked. Well, I'm an orphan and I didn't know who my parents were until IWA kidnapped me cause I look like the Namikaze. They did a blood test and found out that my parents were the Namikaze and Kushina. And frankly, so long as y'all don't try and hurt me, I could frankly care less about being kidnapped. Naruto deadpanned. Why not? I'm considering this my vacation, honestly, much nicer than how I'm normally treated by Konoha. Wow. Well, I guess we can allow you a bit more freedom since you're just a kid, the rough voice said. He was released from his bounds to find he was being carried on the shoulder of a medium-sized man with his hair in a ponytail. There was only one other person, another man who was broad-shouldered and had 3 marks on each of his cheeks leading to his nose. The rough-voiced man with the 3 marks was called Damu, and the smooth-voiced one who was carrying him was called Danbaru. For the trip they didn't say much. Naruto, after the first day of trying to get the men to talk, gave up and decided to sleep. He woke up, tried to talk again, not getting anything, sighed and started complaining about being bored. Damu glared at him. You're being kidnapped, it's not supposed to be boring. Naruto crossed his arms. IWA was much more entertaining kidnappers. They at least talked with me. Aren't y'all supposed to try and get information out of me or something? Like I'm a kid, don't you think if y'all talked with me I would slip up and reveal something? Isn't that how things usually go down when the villains kidnap a kid? The 2 shimmers face-bound. The 2 dumb guys didn't respond, and so Naruto just sighed and tried to fall asleep again. The trip passed by and Naruto mostly sleeping, trying to get the 2 guys to talk or eating the rations. They did allow him to change into his clothes though. Although Naruto left the headband off, since he wouldn't need it for a while most likely. He ended up annoying the 2 enough that they gagged him and rebound him, though they left the blindfold off. Finally, though, they were at Kumo. The 2 brought him to a big central building and into an office where a big imposing man sat at the desk. What are you 2 idiots doing here, and why do you have a kid bound and gagged? The 2 reported about him. The imposing guy sighed. You 2 idiots leave. Yes, Raikage-sama. The 2 said, bowing and leaving. Naruto had been carelessly dropped to the floor. Growling under his breath, he glared at the 2 leaving guys. Slowly he tried to stand up but kept falling back down. He pouted. A shadow fell over him. Pausing, he looked up, and up some more to look at the guy in the eyes. The man picked him up and sat him down on a chair, and then ungagged Naruto. Hello? Naruto chirped in greeting. The man raised an eyebrow. It was silent for a moment before Naruto mentally shrugged. Is all of Kumo not talkative or something? I tried to talk with those 2 guys but they didn't say much other than their names. Like seriously, is it too hard to hold a conversation? He rambled a little bit, his nervousness getting the best of him. I don't know, it could just be that those 2 lack a brain between the 2 of them. The imposing person, who the 2 guys had called Raikage, said. That is probably true, nice to meet you though. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Who are you? I am the Raikage of Kumo. The man stated, still staring at him. Behind him stood a similar-looking figure. Nice to meet you, so I'm hoping that my stay here can be as pleasant as the one in IWA, if that's possible. Naruto nervously said, still craning his neck up. The Raikage was just so big. Why don't you tell me what happened before those 2 idiots kidnapped you? And so Naruto did. Very interesting. The man mused. The door was thrown open. Yo, be here, with a message from Mr. 8, about his older Mr. 9. The Raikage sighed and glared. What is it, B? He demanded sharply. Hosting, sure is great, he says, half of 9, be mighty fine, the blonde-haired boy, be such a joy. The other man, who the Raikage called B, rapped. Pinching the bridge of his nose, A asked. Are you saying that he's the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails? You got that right, half 09, be his to entwine. A turned to him. You're the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi? A what? And didn't Namikaze kill the Kyuubi? Naruto said. You don't know? A asked, slowly, looking like someone was slapping him with a fish. Does Konoha not know how dangerous it is to leave a Jinchuriki untrained? The man shouted, slamming his hand down onto the desk, breaking it and scattering paperwork everywhere. Naruto yelped in shock. He shuddered as the man glared at him and cowered into himself. Brother, B said. A turned to him. What? Calm down, he's only a child, and it's his village's fault that he doesn't know. Wild. B reprimanded with a very bad rap. A calmed down and then B grinned and turned to him. Sorry about big bro, he just worried, yo. The village he'll protect, so it doesn't get wrecked. The man once more rhymed. Naruto frowned at him. Why do you speak like that? He was saving having his mental breakdown later. Because I'm a bee, the best bee rapper. The main said, grinning and fist pumping the air. Naruto giggled. Bee. You are going to be the Uzumaki's guard until we can work out a deal with Konoha to have him returned. Stupid idiots. I grumbled. And get him some basic training so he doesn't go on a rampage. Understood. Bee said. Follow me, we gonna go meet your big feline. Naruto did, and Bee sat him down and held his fist. We bump fists to give you a gist of just what you miss. Naruto nodded and fist bumped with Bee. He opened his eyes to find himself in a giant sewer. Bee stood next to him. Come, let's go find Ninio. Yo. He shrugged and followed the man. They eventually reached a big room with bars. At first Naruto saw nothing, and then he saw an eye open. Idly he wondered what color it was. Hello? Naruto chirped. A growl reverberated through the chamber. So you are my jailer? The eye looked over to Bee. And you brought the host of the 8 Tails as well. The eye looked back over to Naruto again. Why are you here, jailer? Naruto shrugged. I dunno, A-sama seemed displeased that I haven't received training and tasked B-sama here to train me. I didn't even know you were sealed into me until day. I'm waiting until I'm alone to have a breakdown after figuring out why all the villagers hate me and call me a demon. Such is the curse of the ones who are asperse, because of what we hold, truth be told. Be rapped once more. The QB growled. They most likely think that the seal of yours is weak like most other seals and that I can break out and rampage about when your emotions are unstable. Pa, that stupid yondaime has made that impossible. Especially with my physical half ripped away. Naruto looked to the side as the air shimmered and his guardian appeared. The QB's eye snapped to it. You! It roared, throwing itself against the bars, glaring. Bee looked at that shimmer, his eyes going wide. Is that? He blinked. You can see him? His guardian snorted. HN, it is most likely we are in your mindscape that they can see me. Ah. His guardian stood behind him and crossed his arms. Calm down, QB, lest I make you calm down. His guardian commanded as the QB kept trying to ram the bars. Madara Uchiha! How dare you show up again? I thought that bastard Senju killed you. I am dead. I am merely a spirit in the in-between world. The QB growled. Then how can we see you? His guardian looked at him. Naruto just shrugged. Naruto has the ability to see us spirits. I have taken to watching over him. Bee whistled, then he paused. That knowledge I just learned wasn't mine to discern, was it? No. And then his guardian reappeared in front of Bee, staring him in his eyes with his Sharingan activated. What are you doing? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. Mildly concerned for Bee. I simply made it so he could not relay your ability to anyone else. His guardian stated before reappearing behind him. Bee frowned at that. Uncool, fool, you fool. His guardian scoffed. Just be glad that I left your rapping alone. I could easily make it so you do not rap ever again. Bee's eyes widened. His guardian smirked. In fact, if you annoy me too much, I will do that, so stop that nonsense. Bee pouted. Naruto shrugged. I don't mind it. Bee beamed at him. Still, I wouldn't push your luck with my guardian. He can be grouchy. HMPF. His guardian snorted, crossing his arms. The QB was merely watching right now. Fine, fine. Bee grumbled, glaring at Madara. Naruto grinned. Hey, you said that A-sama is your brother, right? And if what I have observed is correct, he gets annoyed with your rapping, yeah? Bee nodded slowly. Well, your brother would be shocked if he is under the impression that I'm the one who gets you to stop rapping, even if it is the threat of my guardian stopping you from rapping forever. Anyways, it would be a funny prank on him because he would want to know how I do it, yeah? The rapper nodded and grinned. You got yourself a deal. When he, Bee pointed at Madara, is on the verge of making it so I never rap again, then you should say, Bee is being uncool. Yeah. I'll stop rapping for a little bit. How's that sound? Naruto smirked and nodded. So, jailer, what are you going to do about me? Well, Naruto tilted his head in thought before grinning. Let's be friends. The QB coughed. What? I want us to be friends. Fine, we can be friends, brat. Just take the seal off. The QB said with a grin. Do you really think we'll allow that? Removing the seal would set you free and kill Naruto. Bee spoke with a frown. The QB just grinned. And I will be Naruto's friend for the last few seconds he's alive before going on to kill all of you pathetic humans. Naruto pouted. Does that mean you don't want to be friends? His bottom lip stuck out a bit. Why would I want to be friends with a pathetic flesh bag like you? You're being mean. Naruto pouted. His guardian glared at the Kyuubi. Fine, if you're not willing to work with Naruto, I can always make you willing to work for Naruto. The Kyuubi growled at him. You blasted Uchiha. Always using those damn eyes of yours. Fine. I will work on being friends with the brat. Naruto frowned at his guardian. That wasn't nice. I don't want the Kyuubi to only be friends with me because he's scared of you. The Kyuubi eyed him. His guardian just shrugged. Fine, but if the Kyuubi ever does something to hurt you, I will turn the overgrown fox into your obedient pet, he said. Naruto's sweat dropped at his guardian's way of being an overprotective family member. What does being a Jinchuriki mean exactly anyways? Besides for holding a biju, you guys never explained. B took a bit of time to explain, saying that Naruto should be able to access the Kyuubi's chakra, but if he uses too much of it he could lose control. Plus a lot more information. He said Naruto was a bit too young to go through the full training to become a proper Jinchuriki, but for now he could get used to being able to talk with the Kyuubi. Speaking of which, I'm surprised you never spoke with Naruto before. I cannot speak with Naruto unless he is in the mindscape because of the seal, the Kyuubi said. It looked at Naruto. The brat shouldn't use my chakra, because I am missing my physical half. If he tries to use my chakra it will eat away at his cells, making it so his lifespan is shortened. Is there any way to fix that? B asked. The Kyuubi looked at him. I suppose if I had some way to get my physical half, or I suppose if my brothers decided to lend me enough physical chakra so that I can recreate my physical half. The mindscape suddenly changed and shifted, and Naruto found himself standing still in the sewer, but half of it changed to reveal another tailed beast. Which is unable to happen, as it would take two of us working together in order for you to reform your physical half. The Kyuubi growled. I was wondering when you were going to make your appearance, Hachibi. The eight-tailed beast didn't say anything, instead choosing to look at Naruto. So you are Kurama's new container? The Kyuubi roared. How dare you, Gyuki! The Kyuubi threw itself against the bars. Naruto ignored it. What do you mean, Kurama? Hachibi smirked. Kurama is his name, mine is Gyuki, nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too, Naruto said, grinning. B, it is getting late, the boy will need to sleep, and we have to go chat with my sister, Gyuki said. B nodded and he disappeared. Gyuki went away at the same time. Naruto turned to Kurama. Goodbye, Kurama-san. The giant fox merely turned away. Naruto shrugged as he watched the mindscape fade away. Follow me, the awesome B, to your room we go, with the flow. His guardian reappeared and scowled at B. He just grinned and followed B. He was signed into a basic room and he quickly fell asleep. It had been an interesting and busy day. Chapter 13. The next day B woke him up, and after Naruto changed they made their way to a training field where a girl stood with long hair and a ponytail. She had a scowl on her face. I do not want to do this, she stated. B rolled his eyes at her. Come on, Ms. 2, it's time to help out Mr. 9, so that this lad so fine can do his job, yo. She scoffed. Whatever, let's get this over with. I'm only doing this case Matatabi says we should. They all fist pumped, and Naruto found himself in his mindscape with Kurama behind him. B stood in front of Gyuki, and the girl stood in front of the two-tailed cat, who Naruto believed was Matatabi. Let's get this over with, Kurama grumbled with a huff. Yes, let us. I can't stand the stench of Uchiha that hangs around the boy, Matatabi said. Damn Uchiha, Kurama growled out in agreement. Jailer, you are going to have to be the conduit for the chakra. Me and you will do that fist bump thing, and then you will also fist bump Matatabi. When I say switch, you fill fist bump with Gyuki. Understand, brat? Naruto nodded. Kurama held his paw out, managing to get it through the bars. Naruto fist bumped him, and then Matatabi held her paw out. He fist bumped that, and then felt chakra pouring over him, through him, and into Kurama. 20 minutes passed before Kurama calls out for the switch. Naruto fist bumped Gyuki. The chakra flow resumed. I'm outta here, the girl stated, looking on in disgust. She left. Matatabi stayed a few seconds longer. I am sorry for her actions, before she too left. An hour and 20 minutes passed with the chakra passing from Gyuki to Kurama. Alright, I'm done, Gyuki said, pulling away. Naruto turned to Kurama, who pulled his paw back away. The fox grinned and stretched. This is much better, loath as I am to say this. I owe you and Matatabi one. I know of that seal that is on you. Make sure to help your host, lest he dies and drag you with him. I would hate to lose you to the death god, Gyuki said. That is all I request, Kurama nodded. Let us leave be. We will keep watch in case Naruto loses control. The duo left. Alright, brat, I'm going to give you a small amount of chakra, not even a tail's worth, to see how you handle it. Got it. Got it. A small tendril of something came out from the cage towards Naruto. It entered him, and he felt powerful. He opened his eyes to the real world. You with us, Naruto? He asked. Naruto nodded. Yeah. Cool, man, your eyes look the same as Kurama's right now. What do you mean? He frowned. What do you mean? What do I mean? Naruto huffed. I'm colorblind, so the only thing I know about Kurama's eyes is they are slitted. They're blood red. I guess that doesn't really help much if you're colorblind. It does. I used to be able to see colors, but a little over a year ago, there was an accident. Me not being able to see colors is the result. I kinda remember what colors look like, but they're fading away as the time passes. Naruto growled out, remembering the event. His claws dug into the ground. Okay, now this is probably enough for now. I would say in another year or so, then try working on controlling one tail's worth of power, even if you master this little bit before then. Because you're so young, it will be harder for your body to process the Biju's chakra. Now continue practicing with that amount of chakra though until you can stay completely calm and make rational decisions. Understood, B-sensei. The man smiled. Okay, release Kurama's chakra now. Naruto nodded, closed his eyes, and feeling for the Kyuubi's chakra, he pushed it away from his own system, releasing it. He opened his eyes to the sewer. Good job, brat. For now I will limit the amount of chakra to that unless you are in a life-threatening situation. Or until you're ready for the one-tail cloak, okay. Sounds good, Kurama-san. Focusing, he willed himself back into full consciousness. Say, B-sensei? I heard that you guys have a tournament. I was wondering about that. Well, we hold a speed tournament every half a year, though we have races every week or so. My brother holds the title of first place. But for the races you can use whatever you want to win. Bloodlines, chakra, even jutsus are allowed. Well, except for the Hiraishin, or anything else that teleports you. The next race is in 2 days. It's not the Junior Cup, which is usually what someone your age would participate in, but it's the Genin Cup if you want to try your luck. Sure, it sounds fun, Naruto said with a grin. Okay, let's go get some food and then we'll continue practicing calling forth your Biju's chakra and releasing it at a moment's notice. Do y'all have ramen? B laughed and nodded. They went to eat ramen with some people staring in shock at B chatting away normally with Naruto. Man, if I knew that I could shock people this much, B said with a chuckle. Yeah, but if you talk normally too often then it won't shock them. True, B said, smirking in amusement. After finishing the ramen, they went back to training. Hours passed, and then they ate dinner before B led him to his room again. The next day B came to get him again, and they continued training. Alright, now that you got a basic handle on Kurama's chakra, I want you to use it, and we're going to spar. Naruto nodded and mentally asked Kurama for the chakra. He felt himself strengthen. Good. Now let's spar, the man declared. He leapt at the man using the basic academy stance he knew, though it did have a few katas mixed in from his guardian. An hour later Naruto collapsed in exhaustion. Even with Kurama's chakra running through him. He released the chakra. Not bad. Actually, I'm surprised you knew a taijutsu stance. From what I heard, Konoha doesn't teach taijutsu until the kid is 9, unless you're one of those special genius kids. But from what you mentioned of your village, then they wouldn't allow you. Naruto gave a shrug. You met the reason I know a stance, Naruto said, and he wasn't even lying. If it wasn't for being able to see shimmers, then he wouldn't have been taught by the the academy basic. B said with a nod. The day passed with B suggesting things to help Naruto improve, and giving him some tips so that he could handle Kurama's chakra better. Saying that in the future Naruto would have to go through the waterfall to go past 3 tails, but he shouldn't do that until he was at least 13 years old. They ate and then Naruto went to bed. He woke up to be grinning excitedly. Alright, let's get you signed up for the Genin Cup. They went and Naruto did a few stretches getting warmed up. People whispered and pointed at him. Other contests came and lined up. Naruto tuned out their whisperings. He was the fastest non-genin in Konoha to his knowledge. He had escaped Chunin multiple times before he could do this. There are 3 races. One is a flat 100-meter sprint in a straight line, the second is 100 laps on the track, and the third is an obstacle course. The winners of the 3 will then have an endurance race in which they continue laps until someone collapses. The exception is if only one person won all 3 laps. They were lined up and then the whistle blew and they were off. Naruto used Kurama's chakra for a boost, but much to his surprise he was in 3rd place. Next was the 100 laps. Naruto ran and after 100 laps he was almost tied for first, but he came in second only by a split second. Next was the obstacle race. Running through the obstacles, Naruto scoffed at how easy it was and came out in first by a solid lead of 20 seconds. The 3 of them, a girl, a guy, and then him, were allowed a small break for food. Naruto smirked. "This next challenge isn't a race," Hashirama stated. Twitching his left arm, he asked, "What?" "This race is made for endurance, how long you can run. If you put all of your energy into it at the start, you'll wear yourself out faster," Hashirama stated. Naruto gave a small nod. After their lunch break, the 3 of them stood at the line. "And go!" The 3 of them were off, Naruto steadily falling behind though as he set a lighter pace. The other 2 soon lapped him. A couple hours later the girl collapsed. Naruto and the boy kept running, the boy occasionally lapping him as he still went at a fast pace, though it was heavily reduced from what he had started out with. Another hour and the boy collapsed. Naruto had won. B came up to him and they fist bumped. A also came up to him. "Quite an impressive win, Uzumaki. What made you think about going slow during the final race?" "Well, y'all said it was endurance run, meaning how long you could go at it, not how fast we could. So by going at a slower pace I was able to keep my stamina up instead of wearing myself out." "Smart plan, but let's say you're being pursued, how would you escape from them?" "Well, it depends, but I would use the terrain to my advantage where possible, and if it was where that didn't stop them I would try and put some distance between us and again depending on the situation, set up a trap, signal for help, or see if I can hide or otherwise trick my opponents." A nodded. "You got some pretty good thoughts. I think you'll make a decent ninja in the future." Naruto smiled. "Some Konoha ninja should be here in the next day or 2 to get you." "B. How is Naruto's Jinchuriki training progressing? Is he stable?" A asked. B gave a nod. "Yeah boy, be mighty fine yo." "Good. Continue watching over Naruto until those slowpokes get here." Naruto blinked. "Slowpokes?" "Yeah, a here can get to Konoha in 2 days easily. 1 day if he needs to be there quick, so anybody who takes longer than that are slow to him, even most of our own ninja," B explained. A nodded at that before he left. "Let's go get you some celebratory ramen." "Yay!" Naruto shouted. They ate ramen and then they resumed training for the last hour or so before it was time for Naruto to get to bed. The next day he woke up and continued training with B until they were summoned to the Raikage's office. Once there, Naruto beamed at seeing that the 3rd had come to get him personally. "Gigi," Naruto said, going to hug him. The Hokage smiled and patted his hair. "I hope you're doing okay, Naruto-kun." "Yeah. This has been an awesome vacation," he said, grinning. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. "Seems like you had quite an adventure. You'll have to tell me all about it once we're back in Konoha." Naruto nodded. "So this old man, be Konoha's man, the mighty leader 3, for the people of the tree." Be rapped once more. "Yep," Naruto said with a nod. "So what will it take to get Naruto back?" A look thoughtful. "Since we had no intention of kidnapping a Konoha citizen, only 250,000 ryo." The 3rd narrowed his eyes. "That is quite the high price for a mere child." "Oh, cut the bullshit," A said with a scoff. "Not only is Uzumaki there the son of the Yellow Flash and the Red Hot Habanero, he is also the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. You should be thankful I'm even willing to give him back," A said with a growl. Sarutobi's eyes widened and he glanced at Naruto. "Yeah, we got a lot to talk about," Naruto commented while crossing his arms. "Mr. 9 is quite the find." B rhymed badly. His guardian sighed. "Can you shut that fool up? His terrible rapping is giving me a headache." Naruto shrugged and turned to the holder of the Gyuki. "B is being uncool." The man gave a pout but nodded. "Fine, fine." The 3rd pulled out a scroll and tossed over the money. "They're in stacks of 50,000. A smirked. "Pleasure doing business with you." "Uzumaki!" "Yes, A-sama?" he asked with a sweat drop as the imposing man directed his full attention to him. You are to return when you're 13 to further your Jinchuriki training, and I expect you to get even faster. I want to be challenged like your father challenged me. Naruto gave a nod. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. Let's go, Naruto, time to return home. The boy beamed as one of the Hokage's guards picked him up and they left.